Hello and welcome to the ABC podcast. This is episode 22, so insert Taylor Swift reference here. My name is Alex, and I am not joined by Brandon today. He is caught up with one of his 19 jobs, so he could not be here today, but I am joined by Angelo, the party dude.
I was going to ask, do I get like some kind of pun name?
But
my name doesn't lend itself as well as Park.
No, it doesn't. But
Thank you.
So Michael's here. He's of course been on the show quite a few times now, but this is his first time as a full-fledged co-host. So
I'm honored.
Yep.
I'm very excited.
So we've got a normal show today. No subscription box, unfortunately, but we've got our ABCs of Geekdom, corrections, and lots of news. So, without further ado, I will hand it over to Michael to do the letter I for the ABCs of Geekdom.
Okay. So, I was trying to think of things for the letter I last night, actually, and I realized we hadn't talked enough about the Lord of the Rings on this podcast. So, I was looking and I was like, there's not a lot that starts with an I, but after some little Googling, I found out our letter I is going to be the Istari, which is just basically the fancy word for the wizards in the Lord of the Rings. So we have Gandalf, obviously the one everybody knows about. We have Saruman the White. We have Radagast the Brown, if you've seen the Hobbit movies. And then there are actually two more wizards that nobody really ever talks about. They're not even in the books, really. They're just kind of mentioned offhand, and they don't even have official names. They're what the fan community has kind of called them, because like just kind of piecing together notes from Tolkien, they're called Alatar and Palando. There's really no other information about them other than they went off to the east after they all came to Middle-earth. So that's all there is to them. But the wizards are pretty cool because they're this classification of immortal beings called the Maiar in Tolkien's mythology, meaning that they're kind of like angels or demigods in a sense. They're not like proper gods, because there is like a proper gods classification in the Tolkien mythos, but they came to Middle-earth to, kind of stop the bad guys from doing their thing, fight for truth, justice, yada, yada, yada. And
so Gandalf is immortal?
Yeah, he has an immortal, so when he dies in the Fellowship, spoilers, I guess? I don't know. Book has been out for like 50 years. His immortal soul is sent back up to Iluvatar, who is the god. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you know what, Gandalf, you're too awesome, and your work's not done yet, so he sends it back to Earth. And that's basically what happens.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah, and then whenever Saruman dies later, you can, see his soul leaving his body, and it kind of goes out. So their spirit, their essence, is immortal in the way that the elves and men aren't. Because the elves, their immortality is that they live forever, but I don't think it's said exactly whether or not they have an immortal soul once they die. But then men, when they die, they go up to, I guess what would be considered heaven in the Tolkien world, where they go and join Iluvatar and the music of the Ainur and stuff like that. It's all very interesting. It goes a lot deeper than just what you read in the Lord of the Rings. Tolkien's made this whole world's history and everything. It's incredibly deep, and I love the wizards. Don't sleep on Radagast, even though he's just barely in the Hobbit, and he's supposed to be in there for random quirky reasons. He's really, in the books, he's more of a Saint Francis figure. And for people who always wonder why do the Eagles help out Gandalf so much? Well, and why don't they just fly him off to Mordor and drop off the ring and all this other stuff that people complain about the Eagles? Well, in The Hobbit, it was because they owed Gandalf a favor, and they were like, okay, now we're even. But in Lord of the Rings, it was because they were friends with Radagast, who's the wizard who takes care of all the animals. Mm. And they don't really care about the affairs of men, like, at all. They're just like, whatever, we just don't want to deal with that. But they only help out Gandalf at, like, specific times because Radagast is like, hey, this guy's really important. You should go do this for him. So he's like the ace in the sleeve, basically, for the White Council whenever they need Deus Ex Machina.
Well, there you have it. So, talked about Lord of the Rings, so we never have to mention it on the show again.
Please don't. Please bring it up all the time.
No,
I love it. I could talk about, like, for a whole episode.
Brandon loves Lord of the Rings. I just don't have any particular connection with it, so it just doesn't come up that much. But
this is why we're here.
Yeah.
Well, not Brandon at the moment, but
right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to our corrections from the last 2 shows, because as you all may or may not know, we did the special episode, so it's actually been 2 weeks. So 2 episodes worth of corrections and 2 weeks worth of news. But surprisingly, now I didn't actually go back and check my notes to see if this is accurate, but I'm pretty sure that this is the fewest number of corrections we've ever had to make on the show.
Miracles do happen.
So, it's too bad Brandon isn't here because I'm sure he would be overjoyed. But let's go ahead and get started. So, first one I have is we were talking about... I don't even remember why we were talking about this. So this was from episode 20. And we were talking about Dr. Zola for some reason. No, I don't even remember, honestly. Anyway, so in Captain America, the First Avenger, and Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Dr. Zola, his first name is Arnim, and he is played by an actor named Toby Jones. He was in the movie The Mist, a fantastic movie that everyone should watch. And also...
Traumatize you. Poor Kinsey.
Poor Kenzie. Also, I found out when I looked this up on IMDb, I just thought I would throw this in here because I thought it was funny. He voiced Dobby the Elf in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. So...
That's right. He's in a lot of, like, random things.
Yeah. He's one of the...
It's like a nerd favorite character actor, basically.
Yeah. Like Hugo Weaving.
Yeah. It's a good example.
Yeah, he was in The Hunger Games. He was... I don't remember what his character's name was, so now I'm gonna have to look that up for next time. But he hosted like the game, or not like the talk show thing, but with Caesar Flickerman. I remember his name, and he is played by what's his name?
I'm gonna look it up now, so we don't have to do corrections next time. The corrections for our corrections.
Stanley Tucci.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, so we're talking about this guy, Toby.
Oh, I remember why we're talking about him, because he is in the trailer for the new series of Sherlock.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I was thinking he was in something recently that wasn't Doctor Who, because he's already been a Doctor Who villain. And now he's going to be the Sherlock villain.
Yep.
And I'm not sure what character he's supposed to be, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know either. Okay, so moving on, we actually have more Sherlock to talk about. So the villain from Series 3, his name, now I already don't remember, but we don't have to talk about it because Brandon said his whole name last time. Magnus something?
Yeah.
Anyway, he was played by an actor named Lars Mikkelsen, and he appeared in the first and third episodes in Series 3.
He was one creepy dude.
Yeah, but he was really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I like and don't like the way that they portray Moriarty. Like, he's very disturbed and creepy, but he's also very, like, flamboyant, which is off-putting.
Yeah. It being a, like, modern tale on Sherlock, I do feel like that's what a Moriarty character would be like now, instead of, like, some chemistry professor or... No, was it chemistry? Crap. He was a professor at Oxford or Cambridge, one of those two.
Yeah. I want to say, like, botany, because I remember in A Game of Shadows that he was talking about plants a bunch.
Yeah, it was something, like, pretty abstract, like chemistry, botany, maybe, like, poetry. I don't know, but, yeah, that whole thing. It would be really weird if for like season 2 of Sherlock, he's like, I'm a professor, and you're just like, those aren't as like important anymore. Nobody really respects professors,
which is a shame.
Yeah,
it's a noble profession.
It is.
Shout out to Dr. Bowler. But yeah, anyway, yeah, there you go, Magnus, whatever. Moving on, so we were talking about Brie Larson being cast as Captain Marvel, and we were talking about how she won Best Actress for her role in Room. Do you have any thoughts while we're talking about it? Did you see Room?
Yeah, I've seen Room, and I think she definitely deserved the Best Actress role. She was really good. I've seen a few of her other movies. Short Term 12 was really good.
Never heard of it.
Like a there was this movie about a bunch of people who were kind of overseeing like a not a foster home, but like a place for underprivileged, like kids in poverty, basically. And then their parents would like pick them up later, but either the kids had committed some kind of crime or whatever. And Brie Larson and like some other people were like the surrogate adults who would basically kind of just make sure everything's functioning right and make sure the kids are all doing well. It's one of those really like tear-jerky, like sentimental movies, but it's really good. And a lot of the acting is really well done. The guy from, if you've seen 10 Cloverfield Lane, oh, that guy was in it too. Not John Goodman, okay. the bearded guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then, I don't know, I'm just really excited for her to be Captain Marvel. It makes a lot of sense. And did you see the image of her reading the Captain Marvel
with her
book?
like Captain Marvel pajamas?
Yeah, she like got a Captain Marvel onesie, which is like, that's wonderful, yeah.
What if that's the costume for the new movie?
I'd be okay with that.
Anyway, so we were talking about her role as Best Actress, and I said, just offhand, I thought that Charlize Theron got nominated for her role as Furiosa in Mad Max Fury Road, which is not correct. Now, side tangent here. I didn't see Mad Max Fury Road. I've talked before about why, because I abhor the original Mad Max, so I refuse to see the new one.
Really?
Oh my god, that is my least favorite movie I have ever seen. I forced myself to sit through that entire mess of a movie, and after it was done, I was like, never again.
And that's the first one?
Yeah.
Wow, the first one's usually like, people think it's okay, and then everybody's like, the second one, Road Warrior, is really good, and then the third one, Thunderdome, which is the one I had seen first, is the worst. It's just it's really stupid and campy, but Fury Road is great. It's
oh no, I mean that's what I heard, but I refuse to see it on principle because the first one just turned me off from the whole franchise. No.
It's if it makes you feel any better, it has very little to do with the franchise, right? Like, director George Miller said the series is more like an anthology of this character. Mm-hmm. So it's not like the fourth movie in a series where you have to like even have a clue of what's going on in the last three. It's just like, this is the character Mad Max, and it's in the same premise. Australia, desert, water, no water, all this other stuff. Cars. And they kind of just go from there. Those are like the principles that kind of go through each movie, and they're not really connected in like the most narrative sense. It's really like, an anthology series. Think of it like Twilight Zone. You know, how they just all... It's a series of episodes, but they all have these weird rules that kind of unite them. Mm-hmm. It's basically Mad Max.
Well, I just...
Give it a shot. It's so good.
Okay, I'll think about it. Anyway, so the Best Actress nominees for the year 2015, which always confused me because, like, you say Best Actress 2015, but that's actually Best Actresses from 2014.
Yeah, like the Oscars are in the year that celebrate the movies from the year before. So Oscars 2015 were about movies from 2014.
Right, so Best Actress nominees from
the year of 2015.
Yes, thank you. So it was Cate Blanchett as Carol from the movie Carol. Did you see it?
Yeah. She was really good. I adore Cate Blanchett. She's one of my favorite actresses, period. But she's gotten a lot of praise, and the role wasn't like, I don't know, it didn't feel like best actress material. Like, just as far as, you know, this is the Academy. They kind of go for certain kinds of movies and certain kinds of performances. Mm-hmm. And hers was a bit more subdued. There were very few of those, like, this is an Oscar performance moment. And it's funny because whenever I think of this is an Oscar performance moment, it's during Spotlight now. You've seen Spotlight, right?
Yeah, I saw it recently.
Which is funny because the whole movie has like these subdued performances and nobody's chewing up the scenery except for this one scene with Mark Ruffalo. And he's like, they did it to kids, man. And every time they talk about Mark Ruffalo, they like bring up that scene. And I was like, that's the scene that they're going to bring up when they like show everybody's role for Spotlight. And that was the one they did because it was definitely the most Oscar-y. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't see Carol, but from what I saw when I watched the Oscars, it seemed interesting that I might be willing to check it out, but
yeah, the best thing about it is the cinematography. It is gorgeous.
See, as a casual movie fan, as someone who enjoys movies but isn't like super artsy about it, I guess, I don't really notice cinematography at all, so I'll take your word for it. Next one was Jennifer Lawrence as Joy from the movie Joy. Also didn't see that one.
Me neither. It didn't look that interesting to me, but I had read about it later. It's apparently about the woman who invented the mop or something. Isn't that right?
Sure. I honestly...
That's what I had...
I don't know.
Well, I might have just heard about it in like a parody.
There's a cleaning product called Joy. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know about Jennifer Lawrence. Like, she's a very good actress, but I think she's been getting like a little too much attention.
She already has 2 Oscars, right?
Right. Yeah. She's really young, and what few Academy movies she's done basically have gotten her nominations or Oscars themselves. So it was a little like startling to see that because the reviews for that movie were not very good.
She won. I know she won for Winter's Bone. What was the other one? Yeah. It wasn't American Hustle, was it?
I think it was.
She was pretty good in that movie.
I have not seen either of those, actually.
I haven't seen Winter's Bone.
Oh, she only has 1 Oscar win.
Oh, interesting.
And that is Silver Linings Playbook.
What?
Yeah, she was nominated for Winter's Bone and nominated for American Hustle and nominated for Joy. So she has 4 nominations. But some of them are... American Hustle is supporting actress, and the other 3 are leading.
I like Silver Linings Playbook. It was okay. I don't know if it was an Oscar-winning performance necessarily. I don't know who else got nominated that year. But we're getting way off topic now.
Yeah.
So then the next one is Charlotte Rampling as Kate Mercer in the movie 45 Years. Which, now that I'm looking at it, I don't think I've ever even heard of that movie.
I'd seen the trailers, and it looked pretty good. It was basically a couple's marriage falling apart on their 45th anniversary.
Okay.
And Charlotte Rampling, she's the kind of person I don't like as a person, but really like their acting. Because she made some really rough comments in the whole whitewashing Oscars so white scandal. They were pretty tasteless, and she's also just been kind of rude in general. And that kind of turned me off to watching the movie. But I mean, I once again, all I have to go off of is hearsay for that one. But people said it was really good.
And then the last Best Actress nominee was Saoirse Ronan.
Saoirse.
Okay, there you go. Saoirse Ronan as Ellis Lacey in the movie Brooklyn, which again I didn't see.
I really enjoyed Brooklyn. It was definitely up there on my favorite films of the year. It's a romance movie, which aren't usually the ones that get nominations or like the high society type.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a really classy movie, and it's just well done. Everything is really tight in it. It wasn't hugely popular, but I think it had a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, it's just because it's a universally quite good film.
Right on.
Saoirse Ronan was really good.
Well, there you have it. Unless you want to talk about supporting actresses.
Nah, we're good. We're already going to be going for a while. There's still more corrections.
Fair enough. All right. So we were talking about Star Trek. God knows why. I think it was because we were talking about Star Trek Discovery. So in the TV series Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Star Trek Voyager, those two shows do not take place on the USS Enterprise. Whereas, of course, the original Star Trek and Star Trek The Next Generation and Star Trek The Animated Series, and I think I'm forgetting one, those do take place on the Enterprise. So...
Fun facts.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't know there was anything Star Trek that didn't take place on the Enterprise.
Yep. And I think that's why we're talking about it, or why I wrote this down, because we were saying that it would be weird for the Enterprise not be in it, but there's obviously already established canon where it's not. Anyway, but we'll talk more about this in the news section, but they did release new details about Star Trek Discovery, and the main ship in that new series is set on the USS Discovery, not the Enterprise. So
the more you know. Making like the rainbow gesture.
Yep. Okay, so now these next two corrections, which are our last two, these are from episode 21. So the first one, we were talking about how lots of Marvel heroes were based in New York City. Like the majority of their main line.
Yeah. Did you look all of them up?
Well, sort of. The most important one that I found was the X-Mansion is not located in New York City. Now, it is located in upstate New York. Yeah. So, still New York, but not New York City. And then, of course, there's the Great Lakes Avengers and the West Coast Avengers, which are in the Great Lakes and the West Coast. So
yeah.
It's still, like we said, like, there's just a ton of heroes set in New York City, which, I mean, makes sense because Marvel headquarters is in New York, so they're going off what they know, but...
Yeah. It's just like, you would think that after a certain point, New York City would be completely 100% devoid of crime. Because, you know, you do have Spider-Man, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, Daredevil, all these people that are like, you know...
We got this covered.
Yeah. There's a lot.
Okay, and then the last one is we were talking about Squirrel Girl as a potential MCU movie.
Absolutely.
And you said that she's a mutant, which was correct when she was introduced, but she was actually retconned to be a mutate.
What does that even mean?
So, a mutate, there's a couple definitions. The one from, like, the X-Men section of the Marvel Universe is someone who has a dormant X gene, which doesn't manifest itself naturally. It is brought on by an external stimuli. So, like, Beast, for example, like, he has his X gene where he has, you know, like, his big hands and stuff.
Okay.
But he tried to, like, amplify or to cure himself, and that's when the whole fur thing happened. And then Deadpool is technically a mutate, as they showed in the Deadpool movie. Yeah. But then another other definition of a mutate is basically any external action which causes superpowers to manifest in a host.
Okay, so they weren't, like, born with it.
Right, basically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny because there is this line in Squirrel Girl where they're talking about how, is she a mutant, is she not a mutant? Mm-hmm. Because this was when the double Quicksilvers were going on in Marvel and in the X-Men movies. And she said, well, I'm a mutant. And then, like, somebody else said, I don't remember who, that, oh, you're technically not a mutant because we can't use the word mutant, all this other stuff because, like, Fox owns the rights
Yeah.
for these mutant in terms of superhero movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's like, do you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I watched the first season. I haven't seen the rest.
I recommend it. I really enjoy it. But anyway, so you know how there was the whole Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in Age of Ultron, and how they call them enhanced in the movie. And so obviously, they filmed the movie over the course of a couple years, whereas they have the writing and stuff before all that happened. So the movie was in production long before the series was started. They started shooting season 2 or whatever. I don't know exact timelines, but you get what I mean. Anyway, in the show, they go out of their way to start calling people enhanced, as opposed to they have superpowers. They actually have 2 words. It's people essentially it's mutates and mutants, where people, to differentiate people who are born with powers and people who have some sort of technological enhancement or enhance their own superpowers.
Yeah, metahumans. Maybe?
Yeah, but they don't use that word.
Okay.
I don't think. Do they? I don't remember. I just associate the metahuman word with the Flash TV show.
That's true. They use it
a lot.
Very frequently.
But yeah, that's all of our corrections. So it's too early to take a break, so we'll cover a bit of news here. Okay, so first thing to talk about is it was announced this week that the main villain in the Aquaman movie is going to be Black Manta.
What?
Not Ocean Master.
I didn't even know this.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap.
Yep. They haven't announced anybody. They haven't cast anybody yet. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be Ocean Master. I thought that just made more sense for an origin story type of thing. Yeah. But again, since Aquaman is going to be introduced in Justice League before the Aquaman movie, I guess they're probably not going to do an origin story.
Also he's being introduced as somebody who's already the king of Atlantis.
Yeah.
Not the whole, I'm half human, half Atlantean, but I'm discovering my Atlantean origins kind of thing, and then out the Throne of Atlantis DC movie. But yeah, I guess Black Manta makes more sense. Maybe Ocean Master can come in a
the end credits scene.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So Black Manta, I know him mostly from the Young Justice cartoon, where he is a huge antagonist. But when I was reading this article, his story is that he was on a ship when he was a little kid, and his dad was the captain, and the ship got capsized, and he had this underwater suit or whatever, and he somehow blamed Aquaman for this ship sinking, and he spent the rest of his life living underwater trying to get revenge, which does not sound comfortable in any way, but
yeah,
it works for him. So he's got this suit that allows him to swim super fast like Aquaman. He is very proficient in underwater combat, which sounds really difficult, but props to him. And he can shoot laser beams out of his mask.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I don't know if this will come into play, but his son, at least in the Injustice cartoon, it probably isn't in the comics, but his son is Tempest / Aqualad.
Right. There have been so many retcons lately that, I'm trying to keep everything straight.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the way it is in the comics right now. Post 52 or
of course.
Whatever. I haven't been keeping up with Aqualad lately, but I do know DC Rebirth made him gay, which is
oh, there you go.
There you go. There's something, Aqualad. I don't know, but that's cool. I'm really excited. Black Manta gonna be a big screen movie. I want to see an intense underwater fight.
Yeah.
That will hopefully not look super slowed down, how my punch is coming at you. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting things they could probably do.
Okay, so the next one is we've got yet another Spider-Man Homecoming casting announcement. Some dude named Michael Chernus, either Chernus or Cernus, he's going to be playing the Tinkerer. So the Tinkerer is basically he builds weapons for bad guys. That's That's like his whole thing. He's like kind of like the Toy Man, but not as creepy, and he does it for profit, not for any sort of whatever reason Toy Man does his thing. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's gonna have a very small role where he like builds the Vulture's wings.
Yeah.
And that's like it.
Yeah. But I mean, this is another villainous role. We've already got the Vulture.
Right.
They've already confirmed there's going to be another mystery villain.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's 3 villains, which is already tied with Spider-Man 3.
Oh, no.
So,
please, Marvel, don't do this.
Yeah, there's already, warning bells going off in my head about this movie.
Yeah. Let's hope the mystery villain is, like, end credits,
Yeah.
something.
That's entirely possible.
And then the Tinkerer could just be a really small role.
Yeah, no, I think Tinkerer thing is, like, he's probably, like, 1, maybe 2 scenes, and that's it. Like, I would totally believe that. But the Vulture as the main villain, like, carrying the whole movie, like, that seems kind of iffy to me.
Yeah, I think it's just really they're running out of Spider-Man villains, and, like, nobody wants to do Green Goblin for the 3rd time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like they could still dig into the well and find something. Mysterio, man.
Yeah. Brandon said that last time. Kraven the Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
That would be... They could do lots of really weird cool stuff with that. Shocker, I said last time. I love the Shocker. We didn't get a real Rhino.
Yeah, redo one of the older villains and just make them better.
Yeah.
Rhino, Venom.
Doc Ock.
Doc Ock. Doc Ock was real... I loved Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2, but that was 10 years ago now. Yeah. So, I mean, people would be ready for another one.
Well, still, I mean, like you said, in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, they had Green Goblin again. So if they went back and redid another villain in the next movie that came after it, I feel like people would kind of be iffy about that. But yeah, I mean, Spider-Man has no shortage of villains to grapple with. So I don't know. I mean, not to say that the Vulture can't be interesting. He's just not, I don't know. I only have a handful of Spider-Man comics, and one of them is one where Vulture steals Peter Parker's youth.
What?
Yeah, because he has cancer, and so he builds this machine that allows him to drain Peter's youth from him. So Peter becomes an old man, and then Vulture becomes healthy. And so the rest of the comic is Vulture flying around and like committing crimes and be like, oh, this feels great to be young and healthy again. And Spider-Man, or Peter Parker, because he loses his powers too, he's like an old man. He's like getting on the bus, like trying to get home.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
And then at the end of the comic, it turns out that the transfer was only temporary. So Peter becomes young again, and Vulture becomes old and sickly again. So I don't know if they'll do that, because Michael Keaton is not a young man, but who knows?
Oh yeah, I forgot he's playing the Vulture. It's gonna be so weird.
Yeah.
I love Michael Keaton.
He's great. He's great. Anyway, moving on. So somebody interviewed Patrick Stewart this week, and he said 2 things of note in said interview. The first thing he said was that in the upcoming Wolverine movie, which doesn't have a title yet, but probably Wolverine 3, I don't know what else I would call it. He said that Professor X will be a very different Professor X. Whatever that means.
So is this Wolverine supposed to be, like, when is it supposed to be? Because now the X-Men timelines are also confusing.
Very true.
Is it in the future?
Well, I haven't even seen Age of Apocalypse, so I don't even...
Oh, you haven't seen Apocalypse yet?
No.
I mean, Apocalypse is in the 80s, and it doesn't, like, change the timelines or anything, right? It's kind of going off of the retcon that was Days of Futures Past. But they've kind of taken things out of chronological order anyways. I mean, Origins Wolverine was at one point.
I haven't seen that either.
And The Wolverine was like a little bit later, but both of those are still before X-Men 1. Or no, The Wolverine is actually after X-Men 3.
Right.
but it's before the wreck. It's weird. So yeah, I don't know what we're supposed to take on that. Professor X being different. If it's like the further future, is it the future that they come back to after Days of Futures Past? Because remember,
I would assume so.
Remember when he comes back and he like wakes up and there's the old cast from the original trilogy. Right. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what to even like go with off of that.
Yeah. But anyway, the other thing, which is probably more important, is that he said he thinks this will be his last appearance as Professor Xavier. Which makes sense. I mean, when did the first X-Men movie come out? It was
2000 or 99. It was that early.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, this has been going on for a long time. And, yeah, I mean, I just think that...
X-Men was 2000.
Okay. Yeah, so, I don't know. I think he's probably just tired of sitting down. He probably wants to stretch his legs a little.
Yeah, and, like, do other movies.
Well, he doesn't really do too much nowadays, really.
Well, I mean, he did Green Room, which... He was great, and he's absolutely terrifying. He played the leader of a gang of neo-Nazis.
I could see that, because he's bald.
He is bald. There you go. That's all you need. No, but I mean, let's think about it. He's done X-Men 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Days of Futures Past. Mm-hmm. He's had cameo appearances in the Wolverine and Origins Wolverine. Like, this has been taking up a lot of his time lately. Mm-hmm. So he's probably like, I am ready to be done. Can't blame him. It's been 16 years.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, they've got the whole second generation X-Men set up, so I don't think they really need to keep going back to the original people.
No.
So, farewell, Sir Patrick Stewart. We will miss you. They couldn't see that salute, but...
Yeah, I saluted the microphone.
Alright, and then next thing... So, it was announced that the Infinity War movies, Parts 1 and Part 2, will not be named as such. The second part, so I'm guessing it's going to be Marvel's The Avengers, Infinity War, and then the second part, which was originally going to be Part 2, is going to be called something else. Now, since we don't know what's going to happen in Part 1, there's really no way to predict what's going to happen in Part 2. Mm-hmm. But, I don't know. Have you ever watched the Superhero Squad cartoon?
No.
Okay. Well, I recommend it. It's very quirky and weird. It takes a more humorous approach to the comics. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and spoil. Well, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and spoil something. In that cartoon, the Silver Surfer comes into the possession of both the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity Sword, and basically just he becomes the Dark Surfer. So he's just an evil version of Silver Surfer. So my prediction is that in Infinity War Part 1, that at the end he's going to steal the Infinity Gauntlet from Thanos, and that's how it'll end. And then Part 2 will be called Marvel's The Avengers: The Rise of the Dark Surfer.
That would be really cool. But
it'll never happen because Fox owns the rights to Silver Surfer, but we can hope.
In a dream. I don't know. I would like Thanos to be the bad guy for both movies. I don't think it's going to happen. You don't think so?
No. Because he just loses control of the Infinity Gauntlet too many times for them to have it that way. Plus, I mean, with the introduction of Captain Marvel and the Kree, like, there's just going to be so many things that could happen that I just don't think he's going to hold on to it for both movies.
I'm trying to think about how they would do it. I mean, Part 1 could be, typical Avengers fare. Like, think of Age of Ultron. Mm-hmm. This sequence of events happening, the build up to the villain. And I mean, I guess at the end, the difference would be that Thanos wins. Mm-hmm. And then Part 2 is them, like, trying to rebuild, find each other across, like, freaking
space and time.
Scattered time and space. Because you'll have the Guardians of the Galaxy, and you'll have the Kree, and you'll have more, like, outer spacey people.
Yeah.
Who can help people
and Doctor
travel
Strange
around
will show up.
Doctor
for no
Strange,
reason.
yeah. Doctor Strange will be in it. So
God, the movie's gonna be nuts.
the Doctor Strange movie?
No,
or
it's
just
the
Infinity War.
The whole thing.
Yeah. I looked at like the Robert Downey Jr. Facebook page thing, shared like a fan made poster, which basically has like the cast listing, and it was the entire poster. I was like, oh, this is gonna be so many people.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Well, I know we talked at length about this on the last show, but the MCU, when everything keeps getting bigger and bigger in scale, where they're literally out in the entire galaxy, like, how do you keep it in, how do you condense it into 1.5 hour movie and keep it so that even people who've never seen the movies, because that's, like, I know it's necessary to make it so that anyone can come into this movie and get a rough idea of what's going on, but at the same time, like, that takes up so much of your resources and time in the movie, and honestly could make it more confusing.
I mean, it works like better in the comics because, I mean, the regular stories, the regular issues are like this character's stuff, this character's stuff, this team stuff, and then when it is the Avengers, it's not every Marvel character that exists. It's the Avengers. So we wouldn't see Doctor Strange, we wouldn't see Guardians of the Galaxy in this, but because the Avengers movies have come to be, this is everyone that has been in the Marvel movies put together so far, because like Nick Fury's been in every one, and you know, they're just adding more and more people. It's just going to become that, and I don't know if they're going to need to find a clever way to take people out, or to separate everyone, or to uncast people.
Well, I mean, who could they really lose? Let's see. Hawkeye, he could definitely go.
Because he technically already was supposed to have retired.
Oh, God. I don't think they'd get rid of Black Widow because, I mean, let's be real. She's their only main female lead.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch could go. Her and her terrible accent. Ant-Man, I don't see him coming into the Avengers or Infinity War, but who knows?
I mean, there's got to be a reason they're going to like find an excuse for him and Wasp to be in it. Wait, is the Ant-Man and Wasp movie before Infinity War?
Like, is it going to come out?
Yeah. Or is it after? Because I know that's a thing that's happening.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I'm not positive on that. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah. It's going to be a weird movie trying to balance like 30 people. But hey, that's why we got 2 parts, right?
Sure.
Just make it one movie.
Everybody's favorite thing is when they...
5 hours.
Everybody's favorite is when they split up one story into 2 movies.
Gosh, that could be its own podcast.
Yeah, definitely. Alright, moving on. It was announced this week that the Chronicles of Narnia movie franchise is getting a reboot. They will not be starting over with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. They're going to be starting with The Silver Chair.
I have nothing to contribute to this conversation.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, I had seen the first one a really long time ago, and I haven't read any of the books. It's really funny because I've read lots of C.S. Lewis, but none of it has been the Chronicles of Narnia. Okay, maybe they're going to be good, because I remember even when I was younger not liking Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and when the new movies would come out, I had zero desire to go watch them, which is odd because... like, thematically, they're very similar to a lot of other stuff I like. Yeah. It's fantasy, there's a lot of interesting symbolism, and it's... yeah, it just never caught me.
Yeah,
and
same.
I don't know if, like, The Silver Chair... I mean, they all take place chronologically, right? And, like, Narnia is weird because every time they leave and come back, like, an extended amount of time has passed. It's almost like Inception, kind of. So... Silver Chair, isn't that like the 6th or 7th? It's like out there in the later books.
I don't even know.
Good on them. I might see it. Probably not.
Yeah, I don't see the point because it's not like the franchise has done anything to warrant itself getting a new movie. It's not. I don't think there are enough Narnia fans out there clamoring to get the conclusion of the series as films. I I think it's just Hollywood being like, we need to make more movies and we can't come up with our own ideas.
Yeah,
so
here's an untapped franchise that could at least get 7 out of, right? That's how things work now.
It's a shame. All right, moving on. Do you remember the Men in Black Cross Jump Street movie?
I do.
So
I remember it got like a director, and like as far as I had remembered that it was in development.
Yeah, so Jonah Hill said this week that he does not think this movie is going to be moving forward.
Ooh. I guess that's good news.
Yeah.
Because the idea just sounds so awful.
Yeah, but I mean, have you seen the Jump Street movies?
I do. I like the Jump Street
yeah,
movies.
And
I think the sequel was actually funnier than the first one.
I don't know about that.
But that's because they were able to play like, oh, it's a comedy sequel, so we're doing everything the same. But if they make like another one, then you're like, are they going to make those jokes again? Because you can't make that's how it was different. Because it was the same, but they were talking about how all the jokes revolved around how it was the same. Mm-hmm. So they can't do that again, because then it really will just be the same.
Yeah.
And because I think they were talking about a 23 Jump Street plus this crossover, which doesn't make any kind of sense. I don't know why Jonah Hill would be fighting aliens.
Why not?
Yeah, right. And then the like there were talks about how the Men in Black that they would bring in would be new people because, well, Tommy Lee Jones is so old and Will Smith probably does not want to do that.
Well, Tommy Lee, I just saw a trailer with him in it where he's playing like some sort of gangster that looks like he's supposed to be 25. What movie was it? Oh my gosh. Oh, it's going to drive me crazy now.
Tommy Lee Jones, what are you doing, man? He just needs to kick back and relax. His filmography right now, as far as 2016, never mind, all this other stuff has come out. There's Villa Capri in 2017, and then Shock and Awe, but that has no release date. Villa Capri. This one doesn't have a trailer either.
Okay, I don't know what. I don't even remember where I saw this. I think it was on my phone, but I don't even remember. Anyway, what were we talking about? Tommy Lee Jones? Men in Black.
The crossover.
Yeah. Okay, just really quickly. He's actually not as old as I thought he was. He's only 69.
Really?
Yeah.
He looks like 80.
I know. Anyway, yeah, Men in Black 23 Jump Street. I think 23 Jump Street will happen because in this interview that I was reading, they were talking to, I think it was the director, maybe it was one of the producers, but he said that, the end credit sequence where they had all those fake trailer or movie
They're going to
trailers.
make all of those.
That's basically what he said. He said that they consider those posters to be canonical to the movie franchise. So they could either make those or whatever they came out with next would be. What number did they end on? Like 40 something or whatever?
Yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot.
Yeah, I mean it was funny. I thought that was really humorous.
I thought it was a joke. Not an omen of things to come. Oh no.
Alright, so that's all the movie news I have to talk about, so I think we'll go ahead and take a break there. So, music, we'll come back.
Bye.
Things. Yeah, bye.
Things stuff.
All right, we're back, and we've got several trailers to talk about. So, Michael, I will let you pick which one you want to talk about first.
Gosh. Let's do... Oh, shoot, I forgot. Moana.
Okay.
Moana first.
Okay.
I almost said Alola, but that was the Pokemon.
So, let's start off by talking about how you're pronouncing it wrong. It's clearly Moana.
Oh, whoops. My white is coming out.
Okay, so Moana, we talked about the first trailer. She is the first Polynesian princess. Music by Mr. Hamilton and voices by The Rock and other people. Anyway, so in this trailer, we actually hear her speak words, which is cool. Yeah. So we know she's not, mute or whatever.
It's like the first... It's the second trailer, but it's the first, real trailer.
Yeah.
Because the other ones have been very kind of... Oh, this is very conceptual and stuff. This one kind of really gets into what we're going to be watching.
Right. So they showed off a giant lava monster.
Yeah.
So that's different, I guess. It's very... You saw Inside Out, right? The lava, the volcano guys from
don't kill lava. That'd be so sad. I like it. It looks good. The humor looks good. The animation is gorgeous as always. And I don't know, the Rock character, he plays some kind of demigod.
Yeah, he's a demigod.
And he has transforms into animals, has moving tattoos.
I think they've only showed him transforming into that eagle.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I think that's the only thing we've seen.
All right.
He has this giant fishing hook bone thing.
Yeah. Which
I think is the source of his power, kind of seems like. And then, like you said, he has tattoos that are, conscious, almost. They kind of just do their own thing, which is weird, but interesting. I feel like if The Rock could have that IRL, he definitely would. And it was a pretty short trailer. It was only a minute long. One thing, so we actually didn't talk about this on the show, but there was a international trailer. It was a very short, I don't remember how long it was, but it showed little Moana, and you saw this?
Yeah, I've seen it.
And so it's hard to describe, but basically she has some sort of water bending power.
Yeah.
And they kind of showed that off very briefly at the very end of this trailer, and they didn't talk about it at all.
Yeah.
She kind of just he throws her off their little raft thing, and she kind of shoots up out of the water.
Yeah, I think what it is that she has some kind of relationship with the water. In this, the water is its own kind of spiritual force. Because in the first one, she seemed interacting with it, it's something outside of herself. And then when it kind of brings her back, she's waving at it or something. She doesn't seem to just be controlling it by her own force. But I guess the two operate. What's that word?
Symbiotically.
Symbiotically. That's exactly the word I was thinking of, actually. Yeah. But yeah, it looks fun. It looks really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited for. It looks better than. I don't know what I was gonna say. It just looks nice, and I like.
What was the last Disney animation movie that came out? Because they've been putting so much focus on their live action stuff.
Yeah, the last one was Zootopia.
Oh yeah.
Zootopia,
which everybody loved.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
I'm gonna Zootopia was really good, but it was very pop culture-y. It takes place in a city, and it feels like a lot of the Disney movies lately, even ones that aren't set in modern times, have felt very modernized. So hopefully this is a bit of fresh air. Just a little bit of something different. And yeah, the music is good. Lin-Manuel Miranda wrecking it, as always.
So, next trailer to talk about... Well, I don't want to... Let's talk about the Luke Cage trailer.
Yeah.
So, this trailer, Luke Cage doing Luke Cagey things. He's beating up the bad guys, not getting hurt by things. It's I was really concerned that it would be very similar to Jessica Jones, but it's not. It definitely does not look like that at all, because Jessica Jones was about, well, taking down Kilgrave.
Yeah, and dealing with her own personal stuff.
And also it has like a mystery kind of air to it. Probably because she's a detective. That would make sense. This one is very much more beat 'em up, rumble tumble. He's trying to take down the guys who mess with his neighborhood and looks like killed his dad.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like it's going to have a very different tone, which I'm really glad about, because I think they could have fallen into the trap of making them both too similar, and it would have been boring.
Yeah. I feel that. I think we finally know that this takes place after Jessica Jones. Because I was kind of wondering, like, when is it? In terms of, like, the whole timeline and stuff. Because by the time we see him in Jessica Jones, he's had his powers for a while, and he's kind of under the radar, basically. He's still in that want to be left alone, but here we kind of see him really taking on everyone, it seems like. And then at that very end, we get the
news crew is all up in his face.
Yeah, and he's like, everybody's like, "Who are you?" And he turns around and we see his face. So obviously he's going to be like a public figure, which
very Iron Man-esque.
Yeah, very Iron Man. I am Luke Cage. So it's good to know that it's going to be after, but we are going to get to see some stuff about his origin too. Yeah, which was a nice little reference to the comics, because he had the bracelets and the weird head thing. Yeah. But no afro.
Ah, darn.
Yeah.
So, two quick things that I want to touch on. So, first one is that Rosario Dawson's character, Claire or something, she's going to be in the show, which kind of makes me think that all of these Netflix shows are actually about her, not the other characters, because why does she keep showing up? But yeah, that's cool, I guess. She's
the Nick Fury.
Yeah, she kind of ties them all together, I guess.
Well, she was only briefly in Jessica Jones, right?
She was in at least a couple episodes.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway. Then the other thing is that, so the main bad guy, and I don't remember the actor's name, it's something very ethnic.
Hard to pronounce.
Yeah. But he is in House of Cards, and so when they originally announced that House of Cards is a Netflix original, and this is, of course, a Netflix original, I thought that was kind of strange, like, why him? Like, I love it, and so in House of Cards, he plays a guy named Remy Danton. Do you watch House of Cards?
No.
It's so good. Between that one and Game of Thrones, those are my top two TV shows that are on right now. I don't know if Game of Thrones would be your thing, but House of Cards, I really think you would love.
I love fantasy, and my brother has been trying to convince me to watch Game of Thrones for over a year now, so I'm like on the edge of giving in. But there are so many shows Emily and I are trying to watch, and we try to watch them both at the same time, which really sucks, because then we're like, we can only do it when we're like, we have the same schedule or we have the same downtime.
Yeah.
But such is life.
Yeah, tell me about it. Anyway, so yeah, he plays Remy, and on that show he's awesome. Like he's just a really great actor. So I wasn't concerned about, him playing a different character on the show. I just thought it was weird that they would choose him to be in this show. But anyway, from what they showed in the trailer, he looked really good, really menacing, very, I can't think of any other way to describe it, very Kingpin-esque.
Yeah.
Kingpin. Not in the sense of, like, the character Kingpin, but being like a
crime lord, yeah.
And that one shot that they had where he's like, everybody wants to be the king, and they got the painting with the crown behind him. I love that. That was so cool. But
yeah. At first, when I was watching this, I was a little worried about, like, how are they going to make the villain intimidating? Because Luke Cage, like,
right,
unless you got superpowers, you're really not going to be able to put a dent in this guy.
Right.
But the line, you may be bulletproof, but Parliament isn't.
Yeah.
So I really feel like they're going to be taking advantage of everything around him.
Yep.
And, like, his family, his friends, his communities, and, like, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be the force of conflict.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm. So then the third Disney trailer to talk about is Rogue One.
Yes. Rogue One. Where do we start? They used a lot of the same shots as in the last couple trailers. Like the putting the lid on the Death Star is one they really like because they've done it in all three, I think. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely gotten me the most interested in terms of like what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, I don't think that it really needs to tell us the story because we really know what's going to happen.
They gave us the setup.
Yeah.
We have seen like 4 movies that take place after this.
Yeah.
I don't know. The first trailer that came out, I was like, oh, cool, Star Wars hype.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one, I was like, oh, more Star Wars hype. And then this one was like, oh, this is a movie. It's got its characters and things are happening.
Yeah, and so the trailer opens up with Saw Gerrera saying, what does he even say? Something about the Empire's like growing more threatening each day.
Their flags are everywhere, I think.
Yeah. And then that was the only time we saw him. There was a new character who in the first trailer I saw, I definitely thought he was Oscar Isaac. Like a really like unshaven Poe Dameron, but then I realized that wouldn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
Unless he's like an alien that like doesn't age, but it's not him, so that's cool. No. And then we saw more of the blind Jedi ninja dude.
Yeah.
Who I'm super excited for him.
That was my favorite part of the trailer too. Have you ever seen any of the Ip Man movies?
I think I've seen the first one, but I'm not positive.
Because that guy is Donnie. This actor is Donnie Yen, and he is such a boss. Like the Ip Man movies are so cool, and he is like the classic like martial arts action, does all his own stunts kind of guy, and. Ooh, those like those brief moments with him in it got me really hyped, and that was the first time I think I'd seen him speak English. So I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be interesting." And yeah, I guess he's like some kind of Jedi outcast. Like maybe he was a Padawan who survived the Purge. Maybe
it's possible.
Who knows?
Yeah. The only thing that I'm afraid of is that he's going to be the FN2199 character where he's just in one scene, does some badass stuff, and then we don't see him anymore. Yeah. Which would be a shame, but...
I really hope not. And I don't think it will be either, because since he's Chinese and he's a big name, especially in China, that's going to be their hook to get the Chinese audience, who's probably going to be a bigger box office hit than the USA.
Yeah.
So I hope he's going to be in it some more, but then again, every trailer has been kind of the same scene with him. Like in the same area, same stuff is going on. We don't know if he's part of the Rogue One, like, task force that goes to the Death Star and gets the plans and stuff.
Yeah.
One can dream, though.
Very true. So then the last thing they showed in the trailer was a behind the back of Darth Vader's head or helmet, basically.
You shook your head when you were watching it.
I don't know why they keep doing this, where they feel the need to tell us about these cool characters who, if they were a surprise in the movie, everyone would have been freaking out and be like, oh, this is so cool. But now, like, I mean, it is cool that Darth Vader's going to be in it, but, like, how much cooler would it have been if going into the movie, nobody knew that?
Yeah, I mean, first there was the announcement, and I was like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. I would have liked to have been surprised about that, because any Star Wars fan who would care about this kind of thing would be expecting him, or anticipating him, like, oh, Darth Vader might show up soon, because this is like right before A New Hope, blah, 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 blah. And then they would, like, feel that gratification, but now the announcement comes and you're like, oh, okay, well, he is going to be in it. And then we now see him, or at least the back of his head, here. And it's like, alright, yeah, we know Darth Vader is going to be in this.
I mean, they did the same. They did the same thing with Civil War with Spider-Man.
Yeah,
where they just
that bugged me.
Yeah, that bugged.
Yeah, because when that trailer came out, I tried to avoid it.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I don't want to see Spider-Man. I want to wait for that cool reveal. And then the image was like all over Facebook, all over. I was like, well, dang, okay.
Yeah, I mean, just that would have been so hype if you just walked in the movie trailer and then all of a sudden, Tony walks in this apartment and like, what's he doing in this weird place? And then you find out he's Spider-Man, and everyone would have lost their minds.
Yeah,
but
there's very little mystery now when you're going into the movies. Mm-hmm. And I used to have this 2-trailer rule. I would watch 2 trailers for the movie and then avoid it. And recently I've kind of gotten out of that habit. But
that's so hard to do, I think.
Yeah, they're everywhere now. But I need to reinstate that rule upon myself. I'm not going to watch any more Rogue One stuff before the movie comes out, because they've already revealed quite a bit.
Yeah. All right, and then the last movie trailer, which unfortunately is the worst one we have to talk about, and
we were kind of putting it off for a reason.
Yeah. So Resident Evil, the final chapter, they got their first trailer, and it does not look great.
No, so it really doesn't.
Have you seen the other Resident Evil movies?
I've seen some, but honestly, they're so forgettable. I can't even tell you which ones I've seen and which ones I haven't. I don't even know how many there are. They're just a mess.
Yeah, basically. I have seen all of the movies.
Dang.
Not for any particular reason, just...
You're a glutton for punishment.
I guess. I mean, after you've seen the first, 3, it's like, well, I might as well just watch all of them. And, yeah, like you said, they're not great. They're not awful. I've definitely seen worse movies,
and there are worse video game movies too.
Yeah, they're really not even that connected to the video games, other than the Umbrella Corporation and Raccoon City,
right?
And
the T-Virus.
Yeah. There's really not much tying them together.
Are there any of the same characters even? Because it looked like Wesker was in the trailer, right?
Yeah, Wesker's in the movies. Jill and what's his name? Chris. They're in the movies. Yeah. But Alice, I don't think is even in the games, and she's the main character in the movies.
Yeah, she's not in the games. No, this trailer was so bad. I saw it, and when we were watching it, I thought it was fake. Because it opens with this action shot, and then it's like Resident Evil teaser trailer, and I was like, is this real? Did somebody really do this? And it did the same shot later in the movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or later in the trailer.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about. I think whoever put that video up on YouTube did that for whatever reason, because the one that I watched did not have that. It just started straight off with the music. More sense.
But yeah, the whole Paradise City editing was so choppy and off. Like they would be like, Paradise City, Paradise City. Like, I'm like, okay.
The funny thing is that somebody got paid to do that. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a thing. One thing I did notice though is that the actor who plays Ser Jorah Mormont on Game of Thrones, he is in this movie, and I don't know about all the other movies, but some of the other movies, and I'm totally blanking on his character's name now, but that's cool. He's a good actor.
That's good.
Yep.
That might be something to look forward to. Mm-hmm. I have nothing else to really say.
Yeah,
it just looks very generic. All the action stuff is like, this is the end. And lots of zombies. And yeah. Very normal. Average. Painfully average. Alright.
Alright, so now we've got a ton of Pokemon news to talk about. So before we start, Michael, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being you've never played any of the games, and 10 being you have every Pokemon's Pokédex number and base stats and move pools memorized. How experienced are you with Pokemon? I'm
like, if you could ask me this 4 years ago, I would have been a 10. But now I'm like kind of an 8.
Okay.
Maybe even 7. Because I haven't played X and Y at all. Uh-huh. And then I recently got Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. And I got it a while ago. I still haven't even beat it. So I don't know. Maybe Pokemon has just kind of been dying down for me. I'm excited for this, but I don't know. It moves really, really fast now. I feel like they're releasing more games in a shorter window of time than they used to. Because I remember waiting a long time for Diamond and Pearl to come out, and then waiting, or even Ruby and Sapphire before that. Like, the expectation for each one was quite a while, and now they're doing the remakes that are like in between every year that the next installation doesn't come out. So it's really overwhelming, and they had so much stuff at once now. Like, this feels like a completely different game than the last.
Yeah, there was a while, starting with Platinum version up through, I think it was X and Y. No, through Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. There was a while where there was a new main series game came out every year.
Yeah, that takes a lot of time, because these games take a lot of time to really play through. Like, you can do the story, and that'll still take you a good while, but all the side quests, and if you're like a super fan like me, you really want to get your money's worth, because what I did on my Soul Silver game file, the remake of Gold and Silver, I complete the Pokédex. So I actually caught every single Pokemon, but that was for the first 4 generations. Now, this new one, Sun and Moon, will be the 7th. So that's almost double what I've had my experience of Pokemon with. I mean, unless they've been like the amount of Pokemon they've been adding.
Yeah, I think
gone down.
I think at the end of 4th gen there was 490 something Pokemon.
Yeah.
And now there's 720 something. Up to 6th gen. That doesn't include all of the new Pokemon, so not quite double, but close.
Yeah, but when I did when I did my playthrough of Soul Silver to complete the Pokédex, and it was a lot of work. It was something like 15 days worth of straight gameplay. Like, these games take a lot of time, and when they just release them every year, it gets really exhausting. And I might get Sun and Moon. It looks really good. It looks like they're adding a lot of gameplay stuff that would be interesting to learn. But, I don't know. I've become increasingly selective with the games I spend my money on now. So, who knows?
Okay, so let's actually talk about this news and whatnot. So there were 2 trailers that released in the intervening time since episode 20, well, I guess episode 21. So in this first trailer, we got the introduction of Alolan forms of Pokemon.
Right.
So we have a total of 8 Alolan forms, and I think it's important to note that they are all Generation 1 Pokemon.
Yeah. They're riding on that nostalgia right now.
Yeah, definitely. Which to me, other than that, to me indicates that the Alola region will be located close in proximity to the Kanto region. So if you guys don't know, the Pokemon world is made up of different continents, essentially. And so in each generation, there is a new continent introduced. So first gen is the Kanto region. Second gen is the Johto region. Third gen is the Hoenn region. Fourth gen is the Sinnoh region. Fifth gen is the Unova region. Sixth gen is the Kalos region. And then the 7th gen, which is this new one, is the Alola region. So Kanto and Johto, if you've played the 2nd gen games, you know that after you beat the Johto gyms, you get to go to Kanto and beat all those gyms. So those are literally, it's not really even this different continents. It's really
like right next to each other.
It's like one continent, 2 countries, I guess. And then Hoenn is much more tropical. There's a lot of water, so it's more south. And then Sinnoh is much more Arctic. Like, there's a lot more snow, so it's farther north. And then Unova, which is supposed to be based on New York City, is farther to the west. And then Kalos, which is supposed to be based on France, is like, I actually don't know. Probably to the east would be logical. And then the Alola region, which is supposed to be based on Hawaii, I guess is probably somewhere near Hoenn and also near Kanto would make sense because, like I said, the whole Alolan forms thing with the Kanto Pokemon, but also it seems like a lot more islands like Hoenn does, so I think that would make sense. Now, this is me just overanalyzing things, but that's what I like to do. Yeah. So anyway, Alolan forms. So the first one they introduced was Exeggutor.
Which looks hilarious.
Yeah, there's
already been memed to death. To death.
So Exeggutor was a grass psychic type Pokemon. It's based off of a coconut tree. It's very squat. And it's got 3 egg heads. And this new one is now grass and dragon type. And it's got a super tall, long neck. And it also grew a tail, which has a 4th head on it.
Mm-hmm. Supposed to be more like a palm tree,
yeah,
which is cool because it looks these new first gen Alola forms look like they're like adapting to the environment, right?
Yeah, and then I don't think they announced a new ability. Oh yeah, no, they did. Sorry, it's gonna have the ability Frisk, which means that whenever a Pokemon switches in onto a Pokemon that has the ability Frisk, it will reveal which item the opposing Pokemon has. Then the next 2 Pokemon were Vulpix and Ninetales, which are both going to be pure ice type and have the ability Snowcloak. Snowcloak, when under the hail condition, Pokemon with Snowcloak, their evasion raises, which is a pretty boring ability, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then... Did I say they're ice type? I think I said that.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 from this first trailer were Sandshrew and Sandslash, which are also ice steel type, and they also have the Snowcloak ability, which is just even lamer because we just got Snowcloak Pokemon. But whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a question about these Pokemon, and I'm not positive about the answer. Are they like? Okay. So let's say I catch this Snow Vulpix. Mm-hmm. Does it ever change back into the Fire Vulpix?
That is an excellent question. I'm wondering the same thing.
Okay. Because being a completionist when I play these games, I like even every version of the same Pokemon. So I'm like, do I need a Fire Vulpix and an Ice Vulpix, or I just need one that changes depending on what island you're on? I think it's the former. I think they're going to be totally separate. But
I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Yeah.
So then we also got a bunch of new Pokemon introduced. So the first one is called Oricorio, and it is a bird Pokemon. And this one is really interesting. So it has 4 different forms. And so the first one is called the Baile style. Second one is the Pom Pom style. Third one is the Sensu style. And then the 4th one is the Pa'au style. So the Baile style is fire flying, and it looks like it's doing like a salsa, or I think salsa.
Tango.
Yeah, one of those 2. And then the second one is the Pom Pom style, and it's got electric flying type, and it looks like a cheerleader type thing. Oh, so the first one is, like we said, like some sort of Latin American inspired, and so the second one seems to be very American. And the third one, Sensu, it's got like these fans, and it looks very Japanese. And it's going to be steel flying, I think. No, ghost flying, sorry. Which I do believe is a unique type. Yeah. No, sorry. Drifloon and Drifblim are ghost flying. Mm-hmm. And then the Pa'au style is like a Hawaiian kind of dance.
Yeah, Pacific.
Yeah, and it is going to be fairy flying. Or no, sorry, psychic flying.
Oh, I thought it was fairy. Looks fairy. I think it's cool. Little dances. And the ability is pretty interesting.
Yeah, so the new ability is called Dancer, and what happens is if another Pokemon uses a dance move, so in the trailer they showed a Masquerian using the move Quiver Dance, and then the Oricorio, its little ability splash screen showed up, and it's then used the same move and copied or got the stat boost from Quiver Dance. So other dance moves that I thought of off the top of my head were Petal Dance, Swords Dance, Dragon Dance. That's all I can think of right now. And yeah, so that one's really interesting, and perhaps even more interesting is if, and I think it will, is if, so let's say the other Pokemon goes first, uses a dance move, you use that move too, then if you get to then use your own second move for that turn, I think that would be really cool. Teeter Dance is the other one. And so according to Bulbapedia, and this isn't a complete list, but for now, they don't have Petal Dance listed on here. I think that's probably a translation thing. For example, the ability Iron Fists increases all punching moves. And so there's a move called Sucker Punch, which, would think gets that boost, but it doesn't, because in Japanese, the literal translation is surprise attack. And so it doesn't get that boost. So like I said, this is not a complete list, so it could be different, but yeah. So then the next one is called Minior, and it is a rock flying type, and it basically looks like a levitating chunk of rock.
Yep.
And it has an ability called Shields Down, where I guess when it takes enough damage, its rock outer armor kind of falls off, and then its core is exposed. Now, what that means, I don't know. It could be make it faster. It could decrease its defense. Who knows? But yeah, and then there are 4 different core colors, but I don't think that has any impact. They just said aesthetic
type differences or anything.
No. So then the next one is Gumshoes, which is the evolved form of Yungoos that they revealed a while back. And this is still looks like Trump.
Yeah, got the hair going.
Yeah, and he looks fine. I don't really care for him or dislike him, so.
Hashtag make Alola great again.
So then the next 2, it's called Fomantis and Lurantis. So Fomantis evolves into Lurantis. Both pure grass type Pokemon. They have the ability Leaf Guard, which means that under sunny conditions, they cannot be affected by non-volatile status conditions. And Lurantis has a new move called Solar Blade, which is a 2-turn move like Solar Beam, but instead of shooting a laser solar cannon, it hits them with a laser solar attack. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense either.
So it's basically the same.
Yeah, basically. Probably going to be a physical move, though, if I had to guess. And then the last one is Mudsdale, which is... Mudsbray, which is the pre-evolved form of the already revealed Mudsdale, which means that Mudsdale probably isn't going to evolve, which is lame, because I really wanted him to evolve to be like bigger and scarier and have a secondary cool type, but oh well. Yeah, not much to say about Mudsbray.
And that was just the first trailer.
Oh no, there's more.
There's more, just kidding. We're still on the first trailer.
Okay, so then they also revealed this new thing called the Island Challenge. Now, for those listeners who are approximately my age, you might remember the Pokemon anime Orange Islands, which was the bridge between the Kanto series and the Johto series while they were still developing the Johto games, but they didn't want to end the anime because that's how anime works.
Yep.
That's why we have friggin' Planet Namek going on for 30 episodes while they were writing the manga.
Don't worry about it.
Anyway, so in the Orange Islands, Ash wants to become the champion or whatever, and he is, instead of having badges, they have 4 challenges that you have to complete. So you go up against these gym, I forget what they call them exactly, but it's the equivalent of a gym leader, but instead of battling them, you have to do these weird challenges. So there's one of them was like a downhill bobsled race kind of thing. There's another one where it was like a 3-part thing where it was part battle, but also part like dancing competition and part like swim race or something. And then I don't remember the other 2. So this is very similar, and it almost seems like it's going to be replacing the 8 gym standard thing. So there's 4 leaders of these island challenges. It's going to be Mallow, the grass specialist, Lana, the water specialist, Sophocles, the water specialist, and Kiawe, the fire type specialist. And they give you these weird challenges. Like, Mallow tells you, I need you to find me these ingredients so I can cook something, and stuff like that. That was the only thing I caught in the trailer.
Yeah.
So that's very strange. I hope that this is a, like, side quest or, like, a supplement to the 8 Gym format, because...
If not, then it feels like there's very little battling going on in this game.
Yeah.
Because the gym, like, okay, yeah, there's, like, the general battling, but the gyms are kind of the toughest part. You know, they're the 8 gym battles and then the Elite Four, and those are typically the toughest parts of every game.
Yeah.
And if they kind of replace those with a dance competition, you'll be vastly underprepared for the next thing that's battle oriented.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's supplementary.
Yeah. I think that would, not only would it shake up the format of the game, like, to just kind of make things, you know, unique and different, but then we would also still get that traditional 8 Gym becoming the champion type thing, which would be really good. They also... So this is where I got kind of confused, because they talk about totem Pokemon, which is like when you complete the gym challenge, and totem Pokemon are like stronger versions. They have this like aura, and they can call for backup kind of thing. It's weird. It's the only time other than horde battles where you have an uneven number of Pokemon in a battle. Horde battles were introduced in 6th Gen, and that was 5-on-1, where your Pokemon was the one and the other Pokemon, you fought 5 wild Pokemon, but they were always lower leveled than you were. And this is like a stronger Pokemon who can then also call in to help battle you, which is, I don't know. And then there's also these kahuna guys who, like, protect the island or whatever, and it just seems very different. Just very different. This whole game just seems like they're experimenting and throwing in all these new mechanics, and it's very off-putting, I guess. So then the next thing they talked about in the trailer was these Poke Rides. And so there's 3 types. There's ground transportation, water transportation, and air transportation. So they showed off a Tauros and a Mudsdale being ridden along these tracks. Or not tracks, just on the ground. The Tauros seemed really fast, and there's actually a point in the trailer where he, like, knocks over a fence, which is probably a reference to the Pokemon anime. When Ash's herd of Tauros at Professor Oak's lab destroyed his fence. Or it could not be. Who knows? Then they showed off a Sharpedo being ridden. Again, like, he looks super fast in the water. And then there's a last little shot of you riding on a Charizard. So all of these Pokemon, they have, like, a saddle on them. And I don't know how prevalent this will be in the games. Like, I don't know if this will just be like tiny little sections, or if it would be a mini game, or if this is how your, like, main mode of transportation. Like, who knows?
My theory is that they're going to be getting rid of HMs. And that these are the new, like, things. Because, you know, previously they had been like, oh, you beat this gym, now you can use this HM.
Right.
Now you can get through this door, basically. You can cut this grass or travel this water. But you'd have to take up a slot of your Pokemon's moves, and there were like 6, 7, 8, depending on which game it was, and it became like you had to have one Pokemon that was entirely HMs, and then still other ones that were using HMs, and it kind of wasted a Pokemon's place and wasted a moveset, so trainers, people have been getting really tired of it. So maybe this is the thing. Like, the fence is like the obstacle, and once you beat this gym, they're like, hey, you can ride my Tauros, and you ride the Tauros, it knocks down the fence, and you can explore from there. Yeah, hopefully that's the replacement for HMs, because I don't think I'm alone in saying I'm pretty tired of them. Yeah.
Okay, and then the last thing from this new trailer, which is probably the weirdest thing, which, given everything we talked about, is kind of weird to say. The new one, or this new thing, is called the Z move. which is basically a super powerful, one time per battle, ultra super damage move. So there's going to be one Z move per type. So the electric one, so they showed off 4. The electric one is called Gigavolt Havoc. The grass type is called Bloom Doom. The fire type one is called Inferno Overdrive. And the water type one is called Hydro Vortex. And basically, it's like Dragon Ball Z, but in Pokemon. It's just
it looks really stupid.
Super over the top. Looks like it's going to do a ton of damage. Yeah. And
I mean, the trainer literally strikes a pose.
Yeah.
So it is like Dragon Ball Z.
One thing they don't really clarify is if this move is going to take the place of one of your regular moves in your move slot. Yeah. Which I don't think it will, and I hope it doesn't, because since it's only one time per battle, like, that seems like it would be a waste if you can only use it once.
I mean, I think it'll be its own separate thing, like the Mega Evolution.
Yeah, which, I guess now that you mention it, so they, these Z moves are they interact with this Z ring that you have, and each type has a Z crystal associated with it. So it's like your Mega Bracelet, but not. And at this point, the game's coming out... Wow, when does it come out?
November.
Yeah. So pretty soon, and we haven't had any new Mega Pokemon introduced, which is really weird, and makes it seem now that, you know, you're going to have this other bracelet besides your Mega Bracelet. It makes it seem like there are not going to be any Mega Pokemon in this game.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Maybe they don't. Maybe they realized Mega Evolutions are a little bit OP.
But they're so cool.
They are cool. Yeah, like Mega Salamence looks intense, and
there are so many Pokemon who deserve to get Mega Evolutions that never got them. And now if they're like, we're just going to get rid of these, it's like, it's a shame.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. So then the second trailer.
We're on to the second trailer.
So they introduced a bunch of new Pokemon. I guess we can start there. The first one is called Morlul. I'll let the internet take care of the jokes for that one. But it is a grass fairy type. It has one of two abilities, either Illuminate, which has no in-game effect. The only thing that it does is that outside of battle, like when you're in the wild and stuff, it increases your chances of running into wild Pokemon. So basically, it's a garbage ability. The other one is Effect Spore, which we've talked about on the show before. When a Pokemon uses a contact move on a Pokemon with Effect Spore, it has a 30% chance of being inflicted with either the burn, paralysis, or sleep status conditions. No, sorry. Paralysis, poison, or sleep. The next Pokemon, and this is probably the weirdest one. Well, maybe not. Anyway, the next Pokemon is called Wishy-Washy. Again, super clever name. So this Pokemon has 2 forms, and the first one is called the Solo form. And then when it reaches a certain level, it doesn't evolve. It can then use its ability, which is called Schooling, and what that does is it basically calls in a ton of Wishy-Washy to create a super giant Wishy-Washy. If you've ever seen Finding Nemo, you can think about the school of fish, how they like make a bunch of different signs and stuff. It kind of looks like that. And yeah, so I'm guessing it's going to have stat increases and stuff like that. I don't know why this isn't an evolution. It just doesn't... It's just so weird. I don't know. Anyway, according to Bulbapedia, this wasn't shown in the trailer, but according to Bulbapedia, when the school form is knocked to low enough HP, it will then go back to solo form. So there you have it. The next new Pokemon is called Pyukumuku, and I have zero clue what this thing is based off of. It's brown, it's got these pink spikes on its back, it's got a little cloud coming out of its butt, and then it's got a little star-looking thing where its mouth should be, and out of that, a little hand fist thing comes out and can punch you, and it looks just very bizarre. It has a new ability called Innards Out, which has the same effect as the ability called Aftermath, which means that when that Pokemon is knocked out, the opposing Pokemon will lose 25% of its health. So it's not a great ability, but it's okay. And then they also introduced 3 new Alolan forms. So the first one is Raichu. Raichu, of course, being the evolved form of Pikachu. Everyone knows Pikachu. And Raichu, Alolan Raichu is electric psychic type. And I guess the most notable design thing is that his tail is a lot larger, like broader and more flat, I guess. And he stands on it. He literally looks like he's surfing on the tail. And his ability is called Surge Surfer. And that means that under the electric terrain status condition, which we've talked about before, his speed will double. So it's sort of like Swift Swim or Chlorophyll for water and grass type Pokemon respectively. So basically what that means is that in a double battle, you pair the, what's it called? That weird bird thing. It's got like the shields. I don't remember. I'll look it up for next week. You pair that thing up, which his ability makes electric terrain come on the field automatically. You throw out Raichu, you got a super fast thing, and it'll do lots of damage. Second Alolan Pokemon is called, it's Alolan Meowth, which is now a pure dark type instead of normal type. And he can have either the abilities, Pick Up. Pick Up makes it so that you can pick up certain items in battle if you don't have an item or you lose your item during battle. I forget how it works exactly. Or outside of battle, there's like a table that tells you when it's this certain level, it has this certain % chance of finding this certain item. Yeah, so it's kind of useful. More useful outside of battle, I think. And then the other ability it has is Technician, which I believe it can learn already. I think it maybe has its hidden ability. But Technician makes it so that moves with 60 or less base power get a 50% boost in power.
60?
60 or less.
Dang.
Yep.
So quite a lot.
Yep. And then the last one, which is my favorite Alolan form so far, is Marowak, which now becomes Ghost Fire type. So if you know what Marowak looks like, he or she has this bone all the time. And so now it looks the same, but it's like dark where it used to be orange, and its bone is on fire on both ends. So it looks really rad.
Yeah. I really like when the Alolan forms are basically a Pacific twist on the original Pokemon. So it looks like a fire twirler.
Yeah.
Basically. Which is really cool.
Yeah. And that's all of the Pokemon from the trailer. What else did they show off?
Team Skull.
Yes, Team Skull.
I think that's it.
Yes, so in every Pokemon game, there has been this organization of evil people who are doing nefarious things, and you as the trainer somehow get mixed up in their nefariousness, and you have to stop them. So in the first 2 games, we had Team Rocket. In third games, we had Team Aqua and Team Magma. Fourth gen was Team Galactic, and then we had Team Plasma, and then Team Flare. And they all had their own goals, but basically they were up to no good. And while they were all different, they were all very organized and very cool and very
they're
menacing.
Basically all the same.
Yeah. Team Skull is basically like a gang, and while Team Rocket calls themselves a gang, they're really more like the mob.
Yeah.
But this is like a gang. Like, street thug.
Like, they are dressed like gangsters, and they're making, like, gangster poses with their hands, and it's just so weird looking, and it just looks dumb.
Sun and Moon has done so much to change up the formulas from what we've seen so far, like we were talking about the island challenges and these Alolan forms and just all kinds of weird things they're doing. I don't know why they felt the need to bring back or introduce this new bad guy organization, especially ones that are so dumb.
Yeah, they just look boring. They're going to be the same thing. I think the most interesting shakeup, I mean, I never played X and Y, so I can't talk about Team Flare, but Team Plasma was pretty weird Because they had the whole, we're trying to save the Pokemon dynamic. They were basically like PETA to the nth degree when they like break into places and all this other stuff. And the leader, N, right?
Well,
or was he?
The leader was Getsis, and N was his like adoptive son. Oh,
well, N was a weird thing.
Yeah,
in himself.
Yeah,
but anyways, that was probably the biggest shakeup on the bad guy formula that they had, and it just looks very standard.
Yeah, I don't like it, but
yeah.
Okay, and then we had a couple Koro leaks, which I'll just mention briefly, not too much. So, 3 Pokemon. The first one I'll talk about is called Nuiki Koguma, which is just the pre-evolved form of Beware, which we talked about, the big pink teddy bear looking thing. He looks cute. Basically, I think they just made it to make plushes out of.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then the other 2, it's called, again, so this is from Koro. This is not going to be the final names in the English translations, but the first one is called Tsunaba, and the second one is called Shirodesuna. And the first one is a little pile of sand with a plastic shovel sticking out of it, and the second one is a giant sandcastle. They are both ghost ground type, and there is no ability as of yet. And I think this is the Pokemon, basically in every generation there are really cool Pokemon, and then there are Pokemon that are like, they kind of ran out of ideas at the end. Like in Gen 1 we had Muck, which is literally a pile of sludge. Yeah. And then people like talk about Vanillish and Vanillux and Vanillite, just these ice cream cones, and yeah. So I think this is the one that people are going to be like, oh, what is this? This looks dumb, but I don't care. They look fine to me. Okay, that was a lot of Pokemon talk.
We did it. We did all the Pokemon. We survived.
Somehow. All right, so now we've got a bunch of TV news to talk about. So they announced a bunch of details about the upcoming seasons of Arrow, Flash, and Supergirl. So the first one, the most interesting one, is that so there's going to be a crossover between all 4 DCTV CW shows, and that's going to be insanity. But Flash and Supergirl, which crossed over last season, there's going to be another crossover with the 2 of them specifically, and it's going to be a musical episode.
Yeah, I saw that. That looks so cool.
I guess that's one word for it. When I was reading the article, I found this out, that Grant Gustin, who plays the Flash, and Melissa Benoist, who plays Supergirl, they were both on Glee.
Yeah.
So they have musical ability, but I don't know. I really, 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 really hope that they bring in the Music Meister.
That would be the best thing ever. Best villain choice. Oh my gosh. I'm really excited for it, if you can tell. I just think it'll be a really funny episode because both of these shows are pretty lighthearted, pretty comedy-oriented. So a musical episode isn't entirely out of the question. Now, if this were like Arrow or something, I'd be like, okay, guys, let's slow down a little bit. But The Flash, it just makes sense.
Yeah. So then, onto The Flash, we had they announced that the new villain for this season is going to be a guy named Savitar, which I did not have a chance to do any research on.
Yeah. Luckily.
Okay, so Savitar, he can tap into the Speed Force, so he's just another speedster. The man now known as Savitar was once an Eastern Bloc military pilot. While flying an experimental supersonic plane, he was infused with Speed Force energy that gave him incredible super speed, making him the fastest man alive. The pilot believed that his super speed was a divine gift and named himself Savitar after the Hindu god of motion. Okay. Curious about the true nature of the so-called Speed Force, Savitar began a cruel campaign of extortion against various other speedsters. During a battle with Max Mercury, whoever that is, Savitar was thrust forward in time to the present. After a massive battle between Savitar and Earth's heroic speedsters, Wally West, Flash 3, pushed the villain into the Speed Force. Savitar was absorbed into the energy field where he remains trapped to this day. This is according to the official official DC Comics encyclopedia, whatever version this is. So yeah, that's Avatar for you.
A supervillain named after a Hindu god. Yeah, that's gonna go great. That's not gonna be controversial at all.
Yeah, so I don't know why they keep having the main... Do you watch The Flash? I guess
yeah.
Okay.
I haven't finished season 2, but I'm like halfway through.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the main villains of both seasons have been speedsters.
Yeah. So I don't know why they feel the need to keep going there. I mean, granted, there are plenty of speedsters, and in comics, no one's ever really dead, so they can bring back anybody any old time. Yeah. But I don't know. I want them... Why not have Grodd be the main villain for the season? Like, he's a super bad dude. But whatever. Anyway, Mirror Master is going to be coming this season, finally.
Excellent.
He's going to be played by an actor named Grey Damon. Never heard of him. But, yeah. Mirror Master... I know he sounds really ridiculous, but he's actually, like, a really unique and pretty powerful villain. So,
yeah,
he's cool. Okay, and then for Supergirl casting, there's going to be... an actor named Matthew McCall is going to be playing Commander Steel, who's different than Steel, the dude with the big hammer. Yeah, he's a hero, so I don't know how that's going to turn out, but we'll see.
We'll see.
And then also, and this is probably more interesting, an actress named Katie McGrath is going to be playing Lena Luthor.
Really?
Yes.
This is in Supergirl.
Yes. So, I don't know who this person is exactly. Obviously, she's going to be related to Lex Luthor somehow, but I don't know if it's his daughter or could be his sister or something. He's an only child, right? Luthor?
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So, unless it's his mother, I don't know.
I mean, Supergirl takes place on a different Earth, right? It's like Earth something or other.
Yeah, it's not in the same...
It's not even one from the comics, right? It's just a different dimension.
Yeah, it's separate from the quote-unquote Arrowverse that they've set up.
Yeah.
Because it was on CBS, so I don't know how they're going to merge them together, because I think they have to do that somehow. But...
Then again, Earth 2 in The Flash was kind of similar in many respects to Earth 2 of the comic books. Mm-hmm. They had Golden Age Flash in there and stuff. So it makes me wonder, is Supergirl like part of another Earth? But they might just be making up stuff. I haven't watched Supergirl.
Have you gotten to the crossover? Oh, that's only in Supergirl, so I guess never mind. Yeah, there's an episode where Barry travels dimensions to get to meet Supergirl. Mm-hmm. So... yeah, I don't know. Anyway, moving on, for Arrow, they announced that Dolph Lundgren is going to be in the show. I don't think they announced who he's going to be playing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And they also, they announced the setting for where the flashbacks are going to be taking place this season, but I don't remember. They're still
doing flashbacks?
I don't remember where. And then they also said that this is going to be the final season with flashbacks.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which makes sense because, so this is going to be season 5 of Arrow. If you don't know, Oliver Queen was marooned, well, quote unquote, marooned on an island. Or, sorry, he spent 5 years in hell. Before he got back to Starling City, or whatever you want to call it. And so this is season 5, so this is going to be last year with flashbacks, which I think is a shame. Like, while the flashbacks aren't great, I just want to be consistent. Like, I think they moved through all of their flashbacks too soon. Like, they could have dragged it out longer, but...
I don't know. In my opinion, they've been getting kind of old.
I guess. Okay, and then for Legends of Tomorrow, Vixen is going to be introduced to the show, but it's not going to be the actress who played Vixen in the last season of Arrow. It's going to be her mother, because if you don't know about Legends of Tomorrow, there's a lot of time travel shenanigans, so I assume it has something to do with that. Anyway, an actress named Macy Richardson Sellers is going to be playing Amaya Jiwe, who is Vixen. So,
interesting.
Yep. I don't know if she's going to be a recurring character or if it's just going to be like a 1 or 2 episode appearance or how that's going to work. But it's a thing.
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, last DCTV thing. CW Seed, which is the home of the Vixen short animated cartoon things. They are introducing a new series called Freedom Fighters: The Ray. The Ray is a superhero. He's got light-based powers, and he is gay. So he's going to be the first gay on-screen superhero.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's a thing.
Okay, so it's like animated?
Yeah.
And it's on the CW.
CW Seed.
What is that?
I don't know.
Is it like an online thing?
I think so.
Okay. That makes more sense, because I've never heard of that before.
Yeah. Did you watch the Vixen shorts?
No.
No, there's like 6 of them. They're like 5 or 6 minutes long each. They're pretty good. Okay. That's where... So there was a season 1 of that. They're bringing it back for another season. And I assume this Ray thing is going to be similar. Okay, so then the next thing is Rocko's Modern Life. The cartoon. Yeah. Old 90s cartoon. Mm-hmm. They are bringing it back for a 1-hour special on Nickelodeon.
Oh, no. Nobody on Nickelodeon is going to watch that.
Yeah.
I mean, the only people that would be like people like us that remember the old show.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember it. I remember it coming on, but I never watched it because it was very strange.
Weird. I mean, Nickelodeon in the 90s was pretty adult.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how well that's going to go over with people. Because now Nickelodeon's very, well, you know.
Yeah.
It's just very standard animated funny stuff.
Basically.
Things. I don't know. It's going to be weird.
Yep.
Rocko's Modern Life. I can't believe that.
Yeah. Okay, so now, as I promised before, there were new details of Star Trek Discovery that were announced. So, the most important thing is that the main character on the show is going to be an African-American female. So, if you've seen the Star Trek movies, Uhura is an African-American female. And while she's a strong character, I don't think she really gets a lot of screen time. Like, she doesn't do a whole lot, really. So I think it's good that they are diversifying and not having, just another white dude captaining the ship. She's not going to be captain. She's going to be lieutenant commander. So I don't know if first officer or what, but that's her rank in Starfleet.
And she's the main character, so this will be from her perspective.
Yes.
Well, that's cool, because it will be from a perspective that's not the captain's, too.
Mm-hmm. And then, so Brian Fuller, who's the showrunner, according to this article that I'm reading, he said, quote, "Absolutely, we're having a gay character."
This is my problem with that. They're putting in a gay character because people want a gay character.
Yep.
And because that's the times.
Yep.
Like...
Okay, here's the
thing. It goes against,
Here's my thoughts. Like, I'm all for diversity. Like, I definitely think we need more representation and everything, but I don't think it needs to be a checklist of, okay, we have a black character, we have an Asian character, we have a gay character, we have a transgender character. It doesn't need to be so political. Like, it needs to be like, does it make sense for this character to be gay? Does it make sense for this character to act this way or have this worldview? It doesn't need to be like, okay, we're meeting our quota for diversity here.
Yeah, it's politics over making something that's good.
Yeah.
And that's really sad because if you look back at other classical pieces of art, like say the Sistine Chapel that has tons of people on it, if that was made today, people would be like, where are all the minorities here? They were like, well, we're Italian. Made everybody look like us. Deal with it. Yeah. That's just how it is. That's how that's how a lot of art is. People just make it the way that they relate to the most. So if somebody's gay and they make something about a gay character, I understand that decision more than, we want one because because we should have them. There should be a gay character in every TV show.
Yeah.
Like, that's just silly.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, more stuff. So this is going to be set 10 years before Captain Kirk takes over the Enterprise. So that's cool. And they're going to be putting more alien crew members on this show, which I think is really weird because making aliens like either takes a lot of prosthetic makeup or it takes a lot of computer generated imagery, which takes up a lot more money and a lot more time.
Yeah.
So it seems like it would fit a lot better with a movie where you have that kind of time and that kind of financial resources, but they're doing it on this TV show, which is weird.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't, I don't know very much about Star Trek, but didn't the older crews lean more Earthling? Because, obviously, they were for the planet Earth, and then it was only, like, the next generation where you started to see, like, there was a Klingon member, and Data was, like, a robot.
Yeah.
They started to kind of get more futuristic.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So this being before even the original Kirk stuff seems odd that there's going to be a lot of alien members on the crew.
No, I agree. But who knows?
Yeah.
Alright, I think that's everything for that. Okay, so then we're almost done with news. So 3 comic book things to talk about really quickly. So the first one is a new Iron Man set of comics called The Infamous Iron Man, where Doctor Doom will be taking over as Iron Man, and this will be in tandem with the new sassy black young female Iron Man, Riri Williams. This is going to be alongside that comic, and they're going to be interacting with each other somehow.
Doctor Doom and this new girl?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be...
Yeah.
Funny, I guess. How would Doctor Doom wear the armor? Is he gonna like wear it over his
armor?
Is he just gonna like build it?
I don't know. I don't know how much of a spoiler this is gonna be, but so this is gonna take place after Civil War II, and someone, I forget who, someone uses the reality gem to basically reset everything, and in that timeline, I guess, Doctor Doom's face, like he was never in his accident, so he never wore his mask, but he still did bad things. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, but he decides he wants to be good. He wants to redeem himself, and so he takes up the Iron Man mantle.
He decides to be good.
Yes.
So this is him being a hero.
Yes.
Oh, I thought he was just gonna have Iron Man armor and continue to be Doctor Doom.
No, that's not my understanding.
Wow.
Yeah.
Should change his name then. Doom is a little.
Well, I mean, that's his name.
That is his
name. Okay, next thing. So Ghost Rider is going to be coming to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We've talked about that before. And they announced that Ghost Rider will be returning to the comics after about a year of him taking a break, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they had stopped, but I guess he's just not as popular a character as he used to be.
So this is, again, it's still not Johnny Blaze. It's the new guy. His last name is Reyes. And I know it's not Jaime, because that's Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
But it's something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I just thought that was cool. Okay, and then the last thing is... Oh, I actually didn't write down the name. It's like... Yeah, the all-new Superman comic.
Oh, I did see this, yeah.
So, or it's called The New Superman. So, we've talked about DC Rebirth, pretty decent amount on the show. This is not DC Rebirth. This is outside of the Rebirth continuity.
Yeah.
So, this is essentially, the Chinese government gets a hold of Superman's blood and somehow infuses it with this dude, and he becomes the Chinese Superman. Which is, you know, it's different, but not that notable. The reason I want to talk about it is because, to my knowledge, there has never been another Superman to use the name of Superman other than Kal-El. We've had plenty of superheroes who've used the name The Flash. Yeah. Plenty of superheroes who've used the name Batman, plenty of Green Lanterns, etc., etc., etc. But I can't think of any Supermen other than Clark Kent. Now there's, obviously Superboy and Supergirl and, the
Crypto.
Yeah. other Kryptonians. But no Superman until now.
I think you're right, yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, I'm pretty fine with it. I think, obviously, they're setting itself up as something very different, I haven't read a lot of the stories about it. I just know that, I just read the headline of China is getting its own Superman.
One thing, I guess, and maybe I'll just hold on to this in my heart, but he has a hyphen in his name. It's Super Dash Man, not Superman. So, I don't know.
What other stuff is there to say about it? Has the series started, or
let's see.
Do
this
we know
article,
anything else about the plot?
Oh yeah, this article is from April, so that's all I see here. Yeah, I don't see any more recent articles really, so I guess it hasn't started yet.
I'll probably pick up a couple issues. Sounds very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still under the whole DC umbrella.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, now that we've got all that news out of the way, let's talk some reviews.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to say it now. We're about to spoil the crap out of the Suicide Squad movie and the Batman Assault on Arkham movie. So if you haven't watched them, I will put timestamps in the description for when we talk about each movie individually and then when we talk about both movies together. So look at that. So I think we should start with Suicide Squad. So go from bad to good.
Yeah.
So I've been talking a lot. I'll let you talk for a little bit.
Okay. I liked Suicide Squad. I thought it was okay. I thought it was better than Batman vs. Superman, but that's not saying very much. Because I really didn't like that movie. It's odd. It's an odd situation when you're trying to, kind of, sort out your feelings for this. Because you're damned if you like it, damned if you don't. Because the internet will hate you if you didn't like it. And then the movie critics, all these, people who really love movies will tell you why you're terrible if you do like it. And, I mean, at the same time, I'm kind of in the middle. I acknowledge it's deeply, deeply flawed. There are a lot of problems. But at the same time, I had a pretty good time watching it. I thought it was entertaining enough, despite a lot of the nonsensical things going on. I mean, on my little review, I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. Which sounds really bad, but really that just means, it's okay. I didn't hate it. It didn't offend me on, the basic level of being a comic book fan like Batman vs. Superman did.
So, I didn't hate this movie either, but I'm more negative on it than Michael is. I agree with a lot of things he said. A lot of people were trashing it before I saw it, and while I didn't think it was as bad as people were saying, I thought there were some redeeming qualities. I thought there were some enjoyable moments, but overall, it was just a mess of a film. Not just, it didn't live up to my expectations of what are supposed to be in the comic books, or it wasn't faithful to these characters, or the artist's vision of how these characters are supposed to be. Just as a movie, it was not good.
Mm-hmm. I can agree with you there.
So,
how do we want to tackle this? Do we want to go in an order of things we liked, things we didn't like, things we didn't like, things we liked?
Let's break it down by character. I think
cool.
That's a good way to do it, just because there's so many people.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So, Deadshot's probably a good place to start. I didn't like Deadshot.
You did not?
I did not like Deadshot because it was Will Smith. So I said this on the show before, is Armando, my roommate, he said that every character that Will Smith is in, he's not a character. He's Will Smith. He does the same thing, talks the same way, he has no range, And I never really thought about it before, but when I was watching it, it's like, he's totally right. He's the same way in every movie, with the possible exception of I Am Legend. He's more subtle in that movie, but he's still very, macho.
Yeah, I'd say there are like 2 or 3 Will Smiths. There's like the comedy Will Smith, then there's the like action superstar Will Smith, and then there's like the drama Will Smith. But yeah, here we kind of get like a bit of the action movie star angle of his. Mm-hmm. And I liked it. I think he was one of the strengths in the characters. There were probably like only 4 characters that I really enjoyed in the movie, and he was one of them. They kind of they keep him accurate to the comics, which I guess is a thing that you could call a plus. And I thought he was enjoyable for what he had. Will Smith seems to be really caring about the movie. He passed up Independence Day for this, so that should tell you something, right?
So he passed up one train wreck to work on another train wreck.
Basically.
Harley Quinn was by far the biggest disappointment for me in this movie.
Really?
Really.
Wow. I loved Harley Quinn in this.
No.
She was, yeah.
I'll let you go first.
Okay. I've had a love-hate relationship with the Harley Quinn character. I think she gets really annoying really easily, and for the longest time when she existed, all she was, I'm somebody who's obsessed with the Joker, and I'm crazy, ha 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 ha. And I'm like, okay, we get it. You're weird, and you're psycho, and you don't wear clothing. Okay. But, I mean, as the years have gone on...
quick side note, like, when she was originally introduced in Batman the Animated Series, not even from the comics, and in that, like, she's fully clothed, like, all the time.
That's true. You're right. She's wearing, like, the jester thing.
Yeah.
I guess that was, like, more comics once that started happening.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as her character went on over the years, she kind of got a lot more stories. She's interacted with a lot of people outside of the Joker, like the Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey, and stuff. And I've enjoyed her. And Margot Robbie definitely cared about the character. And there were some very interesting touches she did. There was a moment, like, you got to see her, like, psychiatrist come out a little bit. Because when there was, like, an action scene about to start up, and Will Smith's Deadshot has been showing a lot of, like, reluctance to go into this fight. And he's like, oh, I don't like putting or when I put the mask on, I kill people, or all this, whatever. Will Smith's getting ready to fight, but he doesn't look like he's in the zone. And then he puts the mask on, and Harley Quinn remembers that. She remembers him saying, oh, when I put the mask on, I kill people, and I like killing people or something. And she calls him a pussy because he's putting on, like, the helmet, like, for protection, and that, like, pisses him off to fight more. So I thought, like, there are a couple moments like that are nice little touches, and I definitely think she was the character that, coming out of this, that got the most screen time, and that you kind of, the camera really wants you to love the most. So why did you really despise her?
It's not that she did a bad job. Like you said, like, I think Margot Robbie, like, really cared about this character enough that the studios have decided that they want to make a Harley Quinn solo movie. And I think that's a lot because Margot Robbie is so dedicated to being Harley Quinn and enjoys being Harley Quinn. The reason I was disappointed is because from the trailers, they hyped her up so much. And then when they showed her at the end, I was just like, that's it? Like, I thought there was going to be more wacky craziness, and she was really, all of her jokes were said in the trailer. She had a lot of one-liners. The only time I laughed was at the end when she's telling Amanda Waller what she wants, the espresso machine. I kind of chuckled at that, but that was the only time I thought anything she said was funny.
Yeah, a lot of her jokes were in the trailers because they were really trying to sell that funny angle. But then when you have, like, 4 trailers worth of jokes, that's a lot of jokes. And when there's a movie with, like, 10 main characters or whatever, people end up sharing the screen a lot, and she didn't get as much screen time as she probably needed.
Yeah. The other thing I didn't like was that, like you were saying before, in the comics, she's really become her own character and become very independent. And in this one, all that she was Joker's girlfriend. Like, that was her main defining feature.
They did literally say that at one point when they're, like, talking about, like one-sentence descriptions of each character. They were like, oh, this guy, a marksman, an assassin, a crocodile, and the Joker's girlfriend. You're like, okay. And I think the Joker, I mean, to kind of transition into the Joker and talk about his and Harley Quinn's relationship, I hated Jared Leto as the Joker in this movie.
Me too.
And I think not only was his performance terrible overacting and just a fundamental misunderstanding of the character, but his presence in the film took away from Harley Quinn.
I mean, it just added unnecessary parts to the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, you could have taken the whole thing out, and it would have been fine.
Yep.
I walked in there thinking that he was going to be the villain, because the trailers sell that. Like, he's going to be the villain. Like, he does, like, there's this one trailer where he's doing his Joker laugh, and then you see, like, reactions from the Suicide Squad, and they're like, oh no! And then gunfire goes off, and I'm like, oh, Suicide Squad's going to fight the Joker. And then it ends up being, no, he really just plays a jealous ex-boyfriend who is trying to get back with Harley Quinn.
Well, no, not even that. So, in the comic books, and basically everything where Joker and Harley Quinn are together, it's Harley Quinn is obsessed with Joker, which makes sense because she was his psychiatrist, she grew attached to him, she went crazy, yada, yada, yada. Joker doesn't give a damn about Harley Quinn. Like, he has tried to kill her and beat her up and abuse her multiple times.
She is a tool.
Yeah.
To him. Yeah.
And in this one, like, he had no reason to try and rescue her, to try and get her back or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what he was doing the entire movie, was protecting her, trying to get her back, trying to help her. That doesn't fit with their relationship at all.
No, I 100% agree with you there. It felt completely unnecessary, and it just kind of fuels the fire for him to be in the freaking Harley Quinn movie. Which, pray to God, he's not. Jared Leto. He was only on screen for like 5 minutes. Yeah. It was 5 minutes too long.
Definitely.
I was cringing every single time.
The whole thing with like his knife circle or whatever, like, what was the point of that? Like, it was kind of a cool shot, I guess, but it was so pointless.
Yeah, no, I wrote a little review for Suicide Squad, and I said no amount of dead pigs and method acting BS can save Jared Leto.
And that whole thing in the club where she was like stripping, and first of all, I didn't even understand what was happening in that scene. Second of all, I don't even know. Like, it just didn't make any. It didn't fit with the movie. It was different. It was just so weird.
Yeah, it's like, why is the Joker even here at a strip club making deals with gangsters? Yeah. This isn't what he does. He's selling his girlfriend to a guy, but then he changes his mind and kills him.
Yeah,
something that would just never happen.
I think you and I have talked before about how the Joker, like, part of it is that he's unpredictable. Like, he's really so amorphous that you can do almost anything with him. And so I was willing to give them the benefit of the doubt where, like, okay, like, you're going a little different direction. Like, Jared Leto, he's a pretty good actor. You know, I'm willing to see where this goes. It did not deliver on what they promised. It did not deliver anything for the movie. It didn't add anything. It didn't make it more interesting. It just was there. It's like, hey, we're already introducing a bunch of characters. We're trying to set up this universe. I think we should throw the Joker in here because why not? And let's make him really weird.
Right. I don't want to talk about Assault on Arkham, but that is definitely something that implements him into the Suicide Squad story
perfectly.
A lot better, yeah.
Okay, well, while we're on the Joker tangent, let's talk about Batman.
Okay.
So, have you listened to the Sincast mini-pod about Suicide Squad?
Not yet.
Okay.
I imagine they did not like it very much.
No, they didn't. But they took a lot of issue with Batman in the movie, which I didn't, actually. Yeah. I thought, again, it was sort of unnecessary, but I didn't think it was that bad. Mm-hmm. I thought it was okay.
Yeah. I think it's more because we were misdirected on the Batman again. Because we were told that, this version of the Batman is going to be a lot scarier because it's from the POV of the villains and he's going to be really terrifying. We're seeing him in the villain's shoes for the first time. It's like, well, we saw him apprehend Harley Quinn and Deadshot. And that's it.
Yep.
I thought the way that was phrased is, he's going to be hunting down the Suicide Squad, and there's going to be a scene where he tries to do that, but maybe he gets distracted and does something else for them to escape. And I was like, okay, that's kind of what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting a ton of Batman screen time, but I was expecting, like, a good action sequence or something. And it was just a little misleading. For the stuff he was in, I thought it was fine, but as long if they had just kind of took him out of the trailers and not told us that villain perspective, I've been really fine with it. Mm-hmm. Once again, Ben Affleck's fine. I mean, he doesn't really do anything in this, though. I just thought it was something that, like, added a nice little touch, connecting the whole DC universe here, because, of course, he would be the one to arrest these people.
Yeah, but we also got a little cameo of the Flash taking down Captain Boomerang. Mm-hmm. So that totally
surprised me.
Yeah,
I had no idea that was in there.
That was fine, I guess. Yeah. There was nobody else, right? None of the Justice League. Yeah. No. So that was Batman. All right, let's see. Moving on. Well, I guess we can talk about Captain Boomerang.
Yeah, Jai Courtney, who's usually pretty terrible in everything.
What else has he been in? I
need to... He's just, like, known for being, like, a bad actor that Hollywood keeps trying to sell.
Like, Liam Hemsworth?
C.J. Courtney, he's been in the Divergence series.
Okay.
He's in A Good Day to Die Hard.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Terminator Genesis.
Oh,
he's in
wonderful.
I, Frankenstein. He's in Jack Reacher.
Okay.
And that's about it.
All right.
But
okay,
you kind of understand.
Yeah. So I'm going to say something kind of controversial, but I think that maybe other than Amanda Waller, I think that Boomerang was my favorite character in this movie.
Really?
Because he was there, he was just doing action-y things and doing weird, quirky things. Basically, for me, he was the embodiment of what I thought that movie was going to be. Just weird, off the wall, quirky, and with some action thrown in there.
That's a good point.
I liked his little unicorn that he was protective of, that they gave zero explanation for. I just thought that was like, okay, I see where you're going with this. It's funny.
Yeah, no, I feel that. He was a good throwaway character.
Yeah.
And this is me nitpicking still, but
that's what we're here for.
Yeah, of course. With the Enchantress as the villain, it's a little crazy that they brought in people like Harley Quinn and Captain Boomerang.
Right.
So he really didn't get a lot of cool action scenes. He fought a couple goons with his fists, but, you know, like in typical Suicide Squad fashion, they usually go on, like, reconnaissance missions, or they have to invade somewhere, or they have to take over, like, someplace by another metahuman that's not, like, ridiculously powerful like the Enchantress is. Nobody on, like, Superman level, right?
Right. They're in this movie, they're dealing with a cataclysmic event, which they should not be able to stop yet because of screenwriting. They're able to.
Yeah.
And it just really, again, like, we'll talk more about this later, but in Assault on Arkham, it's a very small, contained problem that a highly trained person like Deadshot would be able to accomplish, in theory. Stopping this giant machine beam destruction thing from this ancient witch.
Yeah. Captain Boomerang was fun. he had the most surprise lines.
Yeah.
Because he was one that wasn't really thrown in the trailers as much in our face.
Yeah. Okay, so who else? Diablo
was a good surprise.
Yeah. I really liked him too. His backstory was very empathetic. Mm-hmm. Really made you feel for him. One thing I didn't like was the whole, like, oh, I'm giving up on being violent, like, I'm never going to use my powers again, yada, yada, yada. I didn't buy that for a second because, well, first of all, we showed him in the trailer with the whole, like, Will Smith,
fire,
like, all of that. And another reason I didn't like it is because in the A-Team movie, they stole that whole motif from B.A.
Really?
Yeah, he, in that movie, they go to jail, and while he's in jail, he, like, finds Jesus or something. He says, I'm reformed, like, I don't want to hurt people anymore, and then at the end of the movie, of course, like, because the script demands it, he is violent.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same reiterated thing here.
It's a mixed bag, right? Because the idea of someone who wants to give up fighting, but they're in an action movie, you know how it's going to end. You know they're going to come back in a big way, and everybody's going to clap, and you're going to be like, yeah, they did it. They fought and saved the day.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting idea, because obviously you understand why he wouldn't want to do any of these things. And it makes for a good character, but it doesn't make for good, like, fluidity in the movie. It, like, makes it a little bit predictable. Mm-hmm. It's a catch-22.
Yeah. His whole Aztec skeleton giant fire monster thing was very off-putting.
I thought it was cool.
I mean, it was cool, but it also didn't make any sense. It's like, well, how else are we going to beat the bad guy brother? Well,
yeah.
Hey, Diablo has this super mode.
Yeah, in the comics, he's possessed by a kind of demon that, like, inhabits him.
So, like an enchantress?
Yeah, but he has, like, control over it, right?
So it's like Ghost Rider.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good comparison. Flaming skull people.
Yeah.
So I kind of seen... I saw that coming. But, yeah, the way they introduce him, they're like, this guy can control fire. So you're like, oh, well, maybe his OP mode is Human Torch, right? Like, his whole body becomes fire. But instead he became this Aztec god. And I saw, like, a lot of things online about people calling him a peacock. Because he just, like, looked... If you weren't, like... If your screen didn't have good quality, maybe you couldn't tell that through all the, like, different kinds of fire, he was an Aztec guy. But you just kind of saw the feathers.
Yeah.
Well, I liked Diablo. Well, I thought he was one of the good surprises in the movie.
In the movie, doesn't he say he was, like, born with his power? He was given, like, the devil's curse? Isn't that what he says?
Yeah, it's something very vague.
Okay.
Very vague.
Alright, who else is left? Killer Croc. We will talk about him as much as they talked about him in the movie.
Okay.
He was useless.
Yep.
That whole thing where he, like, goes down into the flooded tunnel and then he's, like, backstabs them, but then he shows up at the final fight. That made zero sense.
Something I thought was really funny is that they gave Killer Croc the job to throw the bomb instead of Captain Boomerang, whose job is literally throwing things. I don't know. I thought that was funny. And yeah, Killer Croc is just another one of those characters that it's like, why are they even here? This is an extra person. So.
Yeah, and then I saw, it might have been on the Sincast, or maybe not, but they were complaining about how his reward for saving the world is getting BET, or that's not even his reward, that's what he asked for.
Yeah.
Which is a really, like, I agree, like, that's kind of a stereotype.
Yeah.
That's not very cool.
It is kind of a stereotype, but at the same time, I was like, so? He likes BET. Oh. I mean, it's different. It comes off as a really bad stereotype because he only says, like, 2 lines.
Right.
So you're like, okay, this guy, he's black, he's a crocodile, he likes BET. That's all we know about him. If he was like... No,
he's also beautiful.
Oh, he also said he's beautiful. Yeah, it's like, so if we knew more about him, it's like, there's nothing wrong with a black person liking BET.
Yeah.
Like... If we went to that conclusion, like, oh, no black person is allowed to act in accordance with the typical black person stereotypes, then BET wouldn't exist. Like, it's called Black Entertainment Television.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is pretty. It is a little racist that they kind of just had that in as a throwaway.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm like, so what? He likes BET.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's like freaking. I don't want to like. I don't want to like put him in a box of the epitome of black stereotypes, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I mean,
he was also eating a cheeseburger though.
Yeah.
So they were treating him more like a person.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, that probably would have came off as sweeter if we spent more than like 1 minute with him.
And then I think that's all the main squad characters. So I guess that leaves us with Slipknot.
You heard me say this last night. I was talking about how when they went on the really long exposition intro, like the first act is almost entirely exposition.
Yeah.
Which is fun, and I kind of enjoyed it. It just went on a little bit too long. Just a little bit, for my tastes. They didn't talk about Slipknot at all.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, here's Deadshot, and they like went through all the guns that he has and all his kill count, and they were like, Deadshot, a.k.a. Floyd Lawton.
Yeah.
And it looked really cool. And they did that for like a lot of the other people. They didn't do anything for Slipknot, except when they like finally all show up in the city at once, they're like, this is Slipknot. He climbs things. And I'm like, this guy is so dead.
He was there to prove that the whole nanite bomb thing was not an idle threat. Like, they were definitely going to kill him if they tried to escape. Which, they do the same thing in Assault on Arkham.
Yeah.
With KG Beast. And so, you know, I get that, but for some reason, and maybe this is just my negative bias, because at that point in the movie, I was already like, I know I'm not going to enjoy this movie. So maybe it's possible that I was already just giving up on the movie, but it just didn't come off as clean, as exciting, as informative even as it does in Assault on Arkham.
Yeah. Especially because Assault on Arkham it catches you off guard more, because KG Beast is given a little intro part just like everybody else. I don't know. It was just stupid. I don't have another word for it.
Yeah.
He had no purpose to be there other than that. Amanda Waller.
Yeah. Well, I was going to save her for last, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Okay. So then Rick Flag.
Rick Flag, who I don't have any problem with like the writing of the character. Well, I do actually. The whole romance with the Enchantress is pretty silly, and it kind of was like, here's his reason for being here. He's had this romance because they do.
Right, because
like, they never share a scene together other than like they wake up in bed one time and she's scared.
Yeah.
Like, we need time with these people to really care about them. But when you have a movie with 50 people, it gets just too much. And I end up half caring about everything.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that the whole point of the Suicide Squad is, A, they can do things that the military can't do. Like, Deadshot, while I'm sure Rick Flag is a great soldier and can shoot really well, Deadshot is 10 times better. Like, that's his whole purpose of being in the movie. The other thing is that if they get caught doing whatever it is they're supposed to do, the government can be like, whoa, we didn't know they were there. They were acting on their own. They teamed up. And if the military is there, that defeats the entire purpose of the Suicide Squad.
I do think that's one of the reasons Assault on Arkham works more.
Yeah.
One of the main reasons, because they act more like villains in Assault on Arkham. Deadshot like replaces his rubber bullets with real bullets because he's a bad guy. He does that kind of thing. And in the live action picture with Rick Flag, he's supposed to be keeping them on a leash. We don't see them act like villains as much.
Yeah.
So you're like, they feel like more like heroes.
Yeah.
And we're not really sold on their badness as much.
Yeah.
And especially when all the people that they kill are, oh, don't worry about it. These are these mindless people that are possessed and they're already dead. They're like zombies, basically. The only person that dies... Nobody dies. They kill 2 demons and a bunch of possessed people. And Slipknot, right? The only people that kill actual people in this movie are the government.
Well, I mean, I guess you could make the argument that if Enchantress was defeated, that all of her minions might have reverted back to their human forms, but that's speculation.
Yeah. We didn't get to see the Suicide Squad act selfish.
Yeah.
Which is in their character.
Other than maybe Harley Quinn when she...
And Captain Boomerang.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rick Flag kind of took away a little bit. Mm-hmm. Not to discredit the actor, even though his accent was pretty bad. Eugene was making fun of it a lot yesterday. Yeah. Did they get to the part where we said we were sleeping together? I was like, okay, dude. All right. Thank you. And then Katana.
Katana.
Who is a character from the comics that I love. She's really cool and could have her own movie, but instead she's in this for no reason.
Zero reason.
She doesn't do anything at all.
She has, 4 lines?
She has 4 lines. All of her backstory is told through narration. Rick Flag says her husband was trapped in the sword of that man who killed him, and her sword absorbs the souls of its victims, and you're like, that's her backstory.
Yeah.
We see a cool action scene with her in Japan, and I'm like, I would like a whole movie of that. I would love a Katana movie. It would basically be Kill Bill.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
Yeah, and I was thrown off because we knew she was going to be in the movie. Well, at least I did, because there was a pop vinyl of her.
Yeah, and she's in the trailers,
oh, she was?
on the posters.
Yeah. But in Arrow, they paint her as a bad guy. So I was expecting her to be part of the squad, but then it's like, oh no, she's with me. She's a good guy. It's like, alright, whatever. So then that leaves us with Enchantress and her brother.
Oh, yep. Her brother is just an example of another character who had nothing to contribute to this movie.
Other than...
He's like the muscly henchman.
Yeah, dragging out the runtime of the movie, gave us the fight scene between him and Diablo, stalling between them fighting with Enchantress. And, yeah. Another thing is that Waller found... Well, no, the doctor, the paleontologist, whatever her name was, I don't care what her name was, she found the Enchantress, she broke the statue, she got possessed, right? Okay, fine. So then Waller finds the brother's statue, and she also finds the heart so that she can control the Enchantress, and she's the most powerful member of the squad that she has, arguably she has the most control over, because she can tell her to do whatever, right? If Waller knew how powerful the Enchantress was, she could reasonably assume that the brother would be just as powerful, if not more so. Why would she then not try to possess somebody like maybe Rick Flag? Well, actually, that'd probably be a bad idea because of the whole romance thing. Why would she not try to possess, like, Batman, who's already super powerful? Why would she not try to give him super mystical powers to make him powerful as well? Yeah,
that does sound like it would be something Waller would do. Yeah. So when I heard you saying that, you're like, wow, that's a really crappy thing for a person to do, but Amanda Waller right there, man.
Okay, so Enchantress, she's bad. She's controlled, and she clearly resents it, and she manages to escape control through contrived reasons.
She really likes hula dancing.
She looks ridiculous. Her eyebrows are ridiculous. That's for you, Robin. And something I didn't understand was, so when she gets her heart back, she has her, like, moon headdress thing, right? She gets into her, like, her final form, you might say, if this was Dragon Ball Z. But then when she starts to start fighting, she turns back into her dirty chain form, which was really, like, why? Why would you do that? And then she's going to build a machine that doesn't look like that.
I didn't.
Out of everything,
where was the machine though? I didn't even see.
So there's the giant beam, right? And then there's like this ring of what looked like trash to me. That might have been a machine? ? Come on, guys.
Yeah,
like
they needed the machine because that's the only way the Suicide Squad could win against something like that. Against somebody so ridiculously powerful and mystical. They were like, give us something to blow up. So they blow up the machine, and that, of course, kills her.
Of course. I think that's all we have to say about Enchantress. Am I forgetting anything?
There's nothing to say.
Yeah.
She's a disappointment.
Yeah, even though she was, I mean, they're all bad guys, but she's, the main antagonist. And she was given almost as little explanation of what she can do, where she came from, why she wants to, how she got imprisoned. We didn't get any of that backstory. That was really important to know why we should care about what this villain is doing. And then that leaves us with Amanda Waller, who I think is a really interesting character, both in the comic books, and I think they did a pretty decent job of portraying her in this movie. Yeah. How she's ruthless, how she skirts the law to achieve her own ends. Basically doesn't care about anyone except accomplishing the mission. Right. And while she does have good intentions,
the ends always justify the means.
Yeah, there you go. And she gets her comeuppance for that, I guess.
What was her comeuppance?
Well, she gets captured.
Oh, yeah.
And she gets tentacle raped.
Not really. Not rape. You make that sound so bad. But she lives, and she's okay.
Yeah, she does. Because she has to be there to direct the Suicide Squad, too.
Yeah.
But, so another, again, I don't mean to keep bringing up points that the Sincast kept bringing up, but actually this is, I think, really important. They took issue with, the scene with her in her little bunker or whatever, where they were deleting all the files and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
How she shot all the people who were there, and how Deadshot and Rick Flag were just kind of not caring. I actually thought that was really, important scene, because first of all, it establishes that the squad's mission was not to defeat the Enchantress. It was actually to rescue her, which totally makes sense because that's something they could do. That's something they could, conceivably achieve. And right. B, that would be more important to her than stopping the Enchantress because she would rather save herself than have the city saved. So that makes sense to me.
That's a good point.
And then her shooting all the people makes sense because A, it establishes how ruthless she is, and B, because my understanding from the movie was that she couldn't delete all the files herself. She got people who worked in her office or whatever, but didn't have top secret clearance. She got them to come and start deleting the files, and after that, she had to kill them because they weren't cleared to know everything that they would have seen. Mm-hmm. So I think that scene made a lot of sense, and the way that Rick Flag and Deadshot reacted, I thought also fit with their characters. So I really didn't have a problem with that scene. Yeah. I actually thought it was one of the more put-together scenes in the movie. And granted, if you had missed a line of dialogue here or there where you didn't realize that was the mission or you didn't realize they didn't have that top secret clearance, then it didn't make any sense, which it kind of sounded like that's where they were coming from, but I thought it made sense.
No, yeah. I got that feel too. I take up a little bit of issue with her just straight up taking out a gun and shooting these guys on the spot because it doesn't fit as much. She's not the type of person to kill someone herself. Uh-huh. She'd be like, Flag or Deadshot, kill these guys. Well, she really doesn't care, but she's not the one to be in the trenches ever.
I guess so. I just think it goes to show that she does whatever it takes to make sure that that information is secure. And, if you told Rick Flag to do it, he probably wouldn't do it, and with Deadshot, she probably would have had to haggle with him or something, Yeah. Where I think if she just killed him herself, it's a lot cleaner of a scene.
Okay. I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
There are definitely a lot worse things in the movie. The editing in general was atrocious because
right. So we should probably talk about the 2-movie syndrome.
Yeah, it went through so many reshoots that it does feel like 2 different movies. Yeah. They were originally going for something a little bit grittier with comedic elements, and then there were, people responded really positively to the trailer, which had a lot of jokes, and they were like, oh, let's make it more jokey. Oh, people didn't like Batman vs. Superman because it was too serious. Let's make this absurd. But that should have been something that they had started on from the get-go.
Right, because when did that first trailer come out? I mean, it came out last summer, right?
It came out around the same time the first Batman vs. Superman trailer did.
Yeah, and I remember from that first trailer, like you said, like it was a lot quirkier, a lot lighter in tone. I thought that's what we were getting the whole time. And I was okay with that. Like, I thought, okay, let's do something different than these dark, gritty, super serious movies. I think a lot of the characters in there made a lot of sense to make the movie that way. And then it turns out, like, oh no, the director wanted to make something dark and gritty and serious the whole time. So I don't know why they weren't I thought they were going for that whole whimsical tone from the beginning.
No, and you can look at I saw this really interesting thing that showed the trailers over time. Because at the end of the trailer, it always says Suicide Squad. There's something that says Suicide Squad, and the first trailer, it was black with, like, gray metallic text. Mm-hmm. The second one was that, but then there were, like, candy colors everywhere, like purples, neons, and stuff. And then the last one was just, like, total color explosion. So it's this progression of how much more upbeat and silly they were trying to make this movie. Mm-hmm. And I think the jokey nature is fine for this movie, as long as, as I said, that was something that they were trying to start with. Yeah. But it just reeks of disorganization and last-minute changes. Like, there are some scenes you can point out that you're like, oh, this scene was definitely a reshoot scene. And then the editing is bad because they're trying to merge these two different films. And some characters end up getting multiple introductions, like we haven't seen them on screen before. Deadshot, you see him in, like, the first scene of the movie. Mm-hmm. You're like, okay. And then they say, this is Deadshot. And you're like, oh, okay. And then they say, this is Deadshot again. And I'm like, did they not notice that? And we get, like, we get 2 different scenes before the mission even starts where he's showing off how good he is with guns. And we're like, yeah, we just saw that. And then there's one that's really bad. The one that I think is the worst is when they're in the bar and Flag is like, I deactivated the bombs, you guys can leave. And Captain Boomerang just bolts for the door. Mm-hmm. That was funny. Yeah. It was a really funny scene. It's like, oh, that fits with Captain Boomerang. He was trying to leave the whole time. Yeah. He's out of here. He's done. And it makes sense. He's not going to fight these freaking gods with a boomerang. Yeah. And then the very next scene, he's up for, like, the walk-up dramatic stuff. You're like, didn't you just leave? You're gonna fight these people now?
Maybe he had to pee.
It was, the whole movie was a bunch of bad tricks like that.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's move on to Assault on Arkham. Mm-hmm. So Assault on Arkham starts off with quick, rapid-fire character introductions. Like, here's Deadshot. He's good. He's a shooter. Here's Harley Quinn. She's crazy. Here's Captain Boomerang. He throws things. Like, it was basically the same thing they did in the beginning of Suicide Squad, but
span of like a minute.
Much more condensed, a lot more visually appealing, just a lot cleaner, a lot neater, and it told us everything we knew about the characters from Suicide Squad in, 3 minutes? Yeah. So I thought that was 10 times better. Mm-hmm. Then we got the scene where they wake up in whatever holding cell they're in. KG Beast, he's nixed, and that was great plot exposition, I guess. And then she's like, here's what I need you to do, here's where you're going, here's what's going to happen, here's how you're going to do it, boom, boom, boom. Next scene, they're in the plane, she's dropping them off in Gotham. Basically, things are just moving really fast, which is what needs to happen.
The mission, they go from, like, intro credits to start of the mission in, like, 10 minutes. Yeah. Which is pretty fast. It's a little too fast for a major motion picture. Yeah. But DC animated movies are really short, so they work with what they can. Yeah. And I'm like, cool, I'm ready for this. Let's go. Yep. And you're knowing what to expect. You're like, these people are criminals, and some of them were in prison. Some of them we grabbed, like we found. Yeah. And it makes you believe that Amanda Waller is really powerful and that she can get what she wants. Yep. And I think certain things in particular just kind of make the film flow better than the live-action Suicide Squad. The Batman implementation is something I was more expecting to be like the Suicide Squad. And the Joker implementation was a lot better.
Yeah. So, let's...
and the mission is something that is a lot more realistic for what you would send the Suicide Squad to do.
Yeah. So let's take a break from plot analysis. Let's talk about the voice cast of the characters. Okay. So, Batman, voiced by Kevin Conroy. Anytime Kevin Conroy is Batman, that automatically gets huge bonus points in my book.
Oh, yeah.
Then Deadshot was voiced by a guy named Neil McDonough. He was M. Bison in Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun-Li.
Oh my gosh.
And he's also Damien Dark on Arrow.
Oh.
Harley Quinn is voiced by Hynden Walsh. She's the voice of Starfire on Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go.
Is it not... It's not the OG voice actor for Harley Quinn? She sounds a lot like her.
Yeah. Joker, voiced by Troy Baker. Not Mark Hamill.
But he's doing a dang good job.
I thought he was Mark Hamill the entire time, honestly, until I looked it up afterwards. Who else? Black Spider, voiced by, I don't remember the actor's name, but he plays Gustavo Fring on Breaking Bad.
Oh.
Who else?
Killer Frost.
Yeah, Killer Frost. I don't know her voice actor's name, but she voices Killer Frost in Injustice.
Oh. King Shark.
Yeah. Oh, King Shark, played by Billy West.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The voice of Bender and Jake the Dog.
Oh my gosh, that's right. That is right.
And... am I forgetting anybody? Captain Boomerang, some Australian guy, I don't know.
Voice cast all does really good jobs.
Yep.
Especially... I'm just going to name the characters because I don't know all the voice actors' names again off the top of my head. Like Kevin Conroy for Batman, Troy Baker for Joker.
Oh, the Riddler. I don't know the actor's name, but he plays... he's on Criminal Minds. He's the skinny blonde dude with the long hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah. He has the right voice, too.
Oh, hold on. Sorry. Okay, so back to Suicide Squad. The prison guard, the weird guy.
Yeah.
Can we talk about him for a second? And how freaking, creepy and dumb he is. Yeah. Like, the whole thing with the phone where he gives to Harley Quinn and, not trying to hide it at all, but somehow nobody sees it. And how he's just, really pervy and abusive and just...
Yeah, when he said, the whole thing about Deadshot had the gun to his head and he's like, delete my browser history if I die. I'm like, who says that? Nobody already nobody likes you.
Yeah.
We already established that from the first scene when you were being a dick.
Yeah.
Nobody likes you. We don't need to freaking make you some kind of pervy jerk.
Yeah.
Okay. Dude, really? Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
That part annoyed me too.
Okay, back to Suicide Squad, or Assault on Arkham. So, they land in Gotham, they get in touch with Penguin, who is a very different Penguin than we're used to. He's much more along the lines of Danny DeVito's Penguin in Batman Returns, where he's just, dirty and gross.
This actually takes place in the, Arkham universe from the video games.
Yeah. I haven't played any of them.
So. Okay, so that's why a lot of the voice actors are the same.
Mm.
Kevin Conroy, they have the same. They don't have the same Joker, but Troy Baker plays the Joker in Arkham Origins, and then Nolan North plays Penguin.
Mm.
So they kind of there's a lot of bridges.
Yeah. So then there's that scene between Harley Quinn and Penguin, which made a lot of sense. I thought it was cool, little backstory where it wasn't too, over the top of, okay, we're spending so much time on this, but it was, even though it didn't really add anything to the movie, it was a good, backstory, I guess, without going too far.
I always think that these DC animated movies, when you compare them to the live-action versions, have a bit of a leg up. They have a head start because the people that are watching these already know a lot. If you're watching a DC animated movie that's straight to video, you know a lot about these characters already, and you already have an idea of what's going on. Like,
Right.
I knew about Flashpoint before I watched Flashpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And they make those assumptions. They write it in such a way that you know this world has existed for a long time and that these characters know each other and that they don't waste time with, like, unnecessary plot information. They're like, you already know what's going on here. You already know who frickin' Penguin is. You don't need to be like, who's the Penguin? Well, you see, when he was a small child, Penguin's parents. Like, yeah, we don't need that. And they know we don't need that. And live action movies, sometimes, they do need the, like, endless exposition that we get kind of in the beginning. So it does start a little bit late.
Because DC animated movies, they are made for DC fans. Like you said, like, it's people who know. Suicide Squad is made for any old guy who comes in off the street. Is like, hey, let me watch this movie. This sounds kind of interesting, but I don't know anything about comic books, so they have to go and explain everybody's origin story, and then it just comes out. You know some, but not enough about everybody. So then the next thing we have, and this is going to be my first complaint of Assault on Arkham, is Deadshot shaves his goatee and he's got that weird little mustache and soul patch.
That is weird.
And then there's that scene in the bar between him and Captain Boomerang where Captain Boomerang...
Oh, I like that scene.
Yeah, where he like throws the dart behind his back and gets a good hit, and then Deadshot uses little... super scope thing, and he ricochets it off everything, gets a bullseye, which is kind of cheating, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then the next scene, and this is going to be an even bigger complaint than the goatee thing, but then Deadshot and Harley Quinn sleep together.
Yeah, I think it's like the epitome of some of my complaints with Assault on Arkham is the humor's just a bit off.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason for that to happen. It's supposed to be something that's throwaway, but you're like, these two people just had sex. And it's not typically something that happens in a cartoon movie.
Yeah.
So it's really weird.
Yeah, it's just very off-putting and really unnecessary.
I feel like they put it in there so that when the Joker shows up and she's like, oh, this is my new man, we're supposed to believe it, but we're like, these two people don't care about each other.
Yeah.
She could have just said that and we would have been like, yeah, she's just trying to get under his skin.
Yeah.
So it's just weird. And then the humor, like, Harley Quinn says Yahtzee like 50 times. I don't know. Yeah, just some of those lines kind of, and some of those moments I thought were a little bit...
Yeah.
Why is that here?
It's uncomfortable almost. Like, I'm not a prude. Like, I don't care if there's sex in a movie, but in this movie it just didn't fit in. But anyway, so next day... I guess the next day they put their plan into motion. Harley Quinn gets caught by Batman, so that she can get taken to Arkham. And one of my favorite parts in the movie is so Batman shows up and everyone else is like in a little van outside the store, and Killer Frost, when Batman shows up, Killer Frost's like, so that's the Batman. So like, he gives me the chills or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Captain Boomerang goes, ice puns? Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was so funny.
I liked that part. And it was really funny because that very moment when Emily and I were watching it, like when she says he gives me the chills, Emily goes, and then Captain Boomerang says, ice puns, really? So they both just start laughing.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, they break into Arkham, everyone gets their gear and whatnot, and then, what happened? Oh, well, before that, there's the interaction between Harley Quinn and Joker, which, again, like, does a much better representation of their relationship with each other, because shows she's angry at him, but she's still obsessed with him because she shoots the gun to enable him to break out of his cell, which means that even though she hates him, she, like, can't help but help him. And it also establishes the whole jealousy thing, which is the only reason that he cares about her, and as we find out later, she has the bomb, which is another reason why he cares about her. So again, like in that 3-4 minute scene or whatever, it establishes their messed up relationship way better than it does in Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, so they get all of their gear. They're trying to find the thing. They kill some people. Things happen. They get to the warehouse where they keep all of the bad guys' stuff. Killer Frost gets Mr. Freeze's gun.
Just cause.
Harley Quinn gets her hammer, which we find out later is where the bomb is hidden. What else? I think that's everything important. Anyway, then Batman shows up because he found out that they were looping the security footage. There's a big fight. Things happen. Things explode. And then Black Spider walks out and is like, "Oh, I killed the Bat." And everyone's like, "Sure you did." Yeah. Well, at least all of the viewers. I've seen this movie, I think 3 or 4 times, and the first time I honestly don't remember if I believed that. I probably didn't. When I watched it the other night with Robin, she didn't figure out that it was Batman until like right before the reveal.
Yeah. I don't remember my thoughts either. I mean, the reveal is a lot of fun, because you're like, holy crap, this guy that we've just been with the last like 30 minutes is Batman.
Yeah. And he does a spot-on Black Spider imitation. Yeah,
either that or there's some kind of synthesizer in something.
It's possible. He's Batman, so who knows?
Always prepared.
So anyway, so then they get to the Riddler, which is the whole reason they're even there. They break him out of his cell. And, well, I guess just Killer Frost does.
Right.
But then they meet up with her, and he's like, "I can disable your bombs." They get to the treatment facility or whatever, and he shocks them, and disables all of the bombs except for King Shark. R.I.P.
Yeah, bites the dust.
Yep.
Sleeping with the fishes. Anyways, I guess we can like fast forward. They're now escaping. They get out. There's a whole breakout in Arkham. And then... Yeah,
there's this huge, massive fight scene with Scarecrow, Poison Ivy, Bane, Two-Face. I think that's most of the people they really show off. Commissioner Gordon shows up for some reason. Well, I mean, I guess that's kind of their job, but... Yeah, the helicopter thing, Joker has the bomb, and then Deadshot kills the Joker, well, quote-unquote kills.
Yeah. I didn't like that the climax, they made it feel like physically Deadshot and the Joker were really evenly matched, which, I mean, in my opinion, that fight would be a lot more one-sided. Deadshot would be like, boom, you're dead.
Yeah.
Like, he's pretty no-nonsense.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was injured, though, wasn't
he?
Yeah, he'd been, like, stabbed and shot a bunch of times, so... I mean, plus, the Joker's physical prowess has varied a lot over the years, so I would believe it.
I don't know. I don't think he would be like assassin level hand-to-hand combat. I don't know. That's just, I guess that's more nitpicking, but then that's kind of the end.
Well, what happens at the very end is that Batman visits Waller in her office, and she's kind of like, haha, you can't touch me, I work for the government. But then she's sitting there in her chair taking a drink, and then she sees Deadshot's laser scope, and she's like, and then it cuts to him, and then he says bang, and then that's it. So it implies he kills her, and while it's not the best ending, probably just because of those 2 lines, I thought it was good.
Yeah. Overall, I thought it was a bit better of a movie than Suicide Squad.
A bit better?
I mean, I enjoy certain things more and certain things less. Like, I guess I would have to say that obviously Assault on Arkham is a lot more organized, put together very well. Like, DC animation now at this point is like, works like clockwork. It's a big machine. And the plot is very tight, takes place in these locations, this is what happens. And Suicide Squad is like an incredible disorganized mess. But at the same time, you have like superstars like Will Smith and Margot Robbie who are really able to carry some performances the way that you can't on an animated movie.
Yeah. I mean, if I felt the same way about those characters as you do, then I would agree with you, but I don't know. I like this movie a lot.
Yeah, I do think you like Assault on Arkham a bit more than me. You said it's like your second favorite?
Yeah, second favorite.
After
Flashpoint.
Flashpoint's really good. To me, like, there's Flashpoint, Under the Red Hood, and the Dark Knight Returns movies are all really good. You don't like those?
They're not bad. They're just so different that, I don't know. I mean, I will say that Dark Knight Returns 2 is a lot better than Batman vs. Superman.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
But the whole, like, they're the, like, gangsters that, like, talk weird. It's just, I don't know. And I don't have any attachment to the Dark Knight graphic novels.
Okay.
So that probably has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
But, like, they're good. It just, I don't know. If I was gonna choose between old Batman, I would prefer Batman Beyond.
Okay.
That's just me. But let's read some listener emails in response to these movies. Or movie, I haven't read them yet. So the first one is from Emily.
Hey, boo. Alex just kind of gave me a look. Okay.
So she says, "Hey guys, most of my critiques surrounding Suicide Squad relate to the odd editing and lackluster plot. The movie didn't seem to be fluid at all. I mean, at one point, spoiler alert, Captain Boomerang leaves everyone when he is given permission and then is once again present for the next slow-mo shot. Also, you can tell that Zachary Snyder got his grubby hands on this movie by the excessive slow-motion sequences."
Oh my gosh, yeah, the slow-mo ending. Do you remember the climax when Harley Quinn, like, throws the pistol? It takes 10 seconds. Deadshot, like, grabs it, loads the gun. Killer Croc throws the bomb. Deadshot shoots it. It takes, like, a minute. And it is so cheesy. I was laughing the whole time. Okay.
Post-production was given way too much to do for the movie to look good. Nevertheless, this is a step up from Batman versus Superman. I guess I would agree with that. Not a huge step, but it is better overall.
Yeah.
I loved Harley Quinn, Amanda Waller, and Deadshot. The animated movie was much better with a more interesting plot and a much better Joker. Jared Leto's Joker had no depth at all and was rather disappointing. The use of Suicide Squad in this new movie just didn't seem reasonable for the type of threat they were facing. The animated movie did a much better job showing why they actually needed Task Force X in the first place. That's about it. Have a good show. So, yeah, basically, she said everything we talked about for the last however long we've been talking about this.
Yeah. I agree with everything.
Yep. Not a surprise.
All right.
Okay, and then we have another email from Kenzie. And she says, "Dear Brandon and Alex and Michael," she says, "So I saw Suicide Squad on Monday, and as the two of you know, this is not a typical movie for little Kenzie. However, there were aspects of it that I enjoyed and others that I found frustrating. I enjoyed the concept of bad guys doing good." Let's start there. How do you feel about Task Force X in general?
The idea of Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's pretty cool. It's definitely not my favorite DC thing. But it is very different, and it's a breath of fresh air. They're not anti-heroes, they are villains. Mm-hmm. They're people that are trying to turn over a new leaf, almost. Either people that are trying to turn over a new leaf, or people that are operating out of entirely selfish motives.
Right.
But
yeah, I think the whole thing that they are doing this against their will because if they don't, they're gonna die, I think is not something they really played up too much in the movie. Like you were saying, like how Rick Flag is supposed to be keeping them in control, where he really doesn't do that at all.
Yeah. I like the Suicide Squad's bad guys doing good, bad guys working heroes better than like the other common trope where a greater threat comes in and the bad guys and the good guys are like, we have to unite. And I'm like, it just happens all the time and it doesn't really fit. Like, I mean, sure, some people are like, my goals, like this, I have to do this to do what I want to do later. But those are just really come off as really cheesy. But you know, Suicide Squad, not just the movie, but the idea, is a bit better.
Yeah. It was also interesting to explore bad guys being exploited by the government for the skills they have. However, there was too much going on at once. There were so many characters and so many backstories and subplots that it was difficult to handle. Harley Quinn wasn't as disturbed as she was promoted to be. The Joker was hardly in the movie, which I found disappointing. The timing in the final scenes was ridiculous. Why did they have time to grieve for the fire? Why do they have time to grieve the fire guy? And then the crazy slow-mo with the explosives and the witch's vortex of doom. You know they are going to win. And why did we have to watch Will Smith's intense face for so long? Also, how was the girl the witch inhabited not dead? She should be dead. So should have the government lady, who, by the way, was way more evil than any of the supposed bad guys. I will agree with that.
Oh yeah, Amanda Waller is the worst.
It was an interesting concept to me to explore, but I think they explored it too shallowly for me to say it was a good movie. Yeah, so sounds like a lot of consensus.
Mm-hmm.
There are some good things, but not enough to redeem it from being a bad movie. Not to say there aren't things to enjoy about it, but it's very flawed. I think we've said that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So that is it for Suicide Squad and Assault on Arkham. I guess we've done enough compare and contrast. I don't think we really need to set it aside. Okay, so now we've got one final email, also from Kenzie. She said, I'm just now catching up on the show. I was, in fact, a little offended when my Professor Poopy Pants name was not read on the show. Now I'm still listening to episode 20 as I write this, and laughed pretty hard that Alex remembered me because he was thinking of the mature humor of the League that I would not enjoy. Would you please read my name? Inquiring minds would like to know. Sincerely, Kenzie. Yes, Kenzie, I would be delighted to read your Professor Poopy Pants name. And your Professor Poopy Pants name would be Flunky Potty Brains.
There you go.
There you go. All right. Well, those are all of our emails. Again, we always want to hear what you guys have to think about anything we're doing, or ask us any questions that you have about pretty much anything. So you can send those emails to abcpodcast92@gmail.com, and we would love to hear from you. And now we will wrap up the show with Fan Fic Fights.
It is time.
Okay, so Michael, have you watched Avatar: The Last Airbender?
I have.
All right, perfect. So our fanfic fights for this week is going to be Princess/Firelord Azula from Avatar: The Last Airbender versus Tanya from Mortal Kombat, or Mortal Kombat series.
Okay. I'd like to do Azula, because I
right.
don't know as much about Tanya.
Very well. And you are the guest, so I will let you have the floor.
All right. So, the reason Azula would win in this fight is she is an insanely gifted and powerful firebender. She has mastered the lightning bending ability, and she has defeated basically everybody in the Fire Nation at their own game. She is one of the strongest in the nation. And I think her X factor here that really separates her from the competition is she is absolutely bat poop crazy. She's not a fun person to hang out around. So she gives her all in every battle and is just really psychotic and detached from human compassion. So if she wants to fight you, she's probably going to try to kill you, and she does not hold back. So that's Azula.
Okay, two quick things that I need to mention. First of all, lightning bending is not a firebender power, it's lightning generation. We talked at length about that on the show before. Just want to say, so I don't have to clarify for next week. Also, she has blue flames as opposed to most other firebenders have red fire. So, Tanya. So, in Mortal Kombat X, there are 3 variations for every character, and one of hers is called the Pyromancer technique, and in this variation, she can throw fireballs. She also has this dust that she can coat her opponents with, and when she hits them with a fire-type move, they will explode. So that's really powerful. In her other variations, she also makes use of various weapons, like her bladed tonfa, which she uses to quickly attack and stab and throw. And she also has her dragon Naginata, which is an extending spear type weapon, which she can use to stab the ground and do long range poking attacks and just stab a lot. She also has the power of teleportation, which she uses to quickly zoom around the screen, so she's very hard to catch. And much like Azula, she is not afraid to take out her opponent once and for all, because just like every other Mortal Kombat character, she has her brutalities and her fatalities, which are not pleasant ways to die. So Tanya is very fast, very powerful, very skilled in combat, and not to be trifled with.
Who won? You decide. Sound off in the emails and such.
Yes, please. We love to know who you thought won. So, again, if you want to send us your comments, questions, concerns, thoughts on Fan Fic Fights, thoughts on movies, if you want to hear Michael on the show more often, you can let us know all of those things by sending us an email to abcpodcast92@gmail.com. You can also tell me on social media by following me on Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat at AtariAlex. You can follow Brandon on Twitter by finding his username in my Twitter bio, or just scroll through my timeline and look for the weird things that I tweet at him. Michael?
Yep. You can find me on Twitter at Mike4Movies. It's MikeForMovies. And then
You spelled movies wrong.
Did I say MOI?
Yeah.
Oh, MOVIES. There you go. I'm also on letterboxd.com. Just search Michael Irwin and you'll find me. I post lists about movies and stuff and reviews about the whatever big movies I've seen lately.
Yep. So that is it for our show this week. Thank you all very much for listening. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next week, possibly with Brandon, but no promises. So we will catch you all next week.